This is Nationwide 90 FM, owned and operated by Nationwide News Network. We broadcast from our studios at 6 Bradley Avenue, Kingston 10, Jamaica. Transmitting on the FM 90 band. 90.3 from Peters Rock in St. Andrew and Murphy Hill in St. Anne. Serving Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Anne, parts of Clarendon, St. Mary, and St. Thomas. 90.5 from Huntley in Manchester, transmitting to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester, Clarendon, rural St. Andrew, and parts of St. Thomas. And 90.7 from Cooper's Hill in St. Andrew and Flower Hill in St. James, serving Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Mary, Portland, and St. Anne. Nationwide 90 FM also broadcasts on the World Wide Web on nationwideradiojm.com and on Flow on channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6 o'clock.
From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning.
A very good morning to you. I'm Tawna Thomas. Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning, Tuesday, April 30, 2024. The latest Don Anderson poll shows the PNP with an almost 8 percentage point lead over the JLP in terms of which party people would support if a general election was held shortly. But a former PNP politician dismisses the poll as a classic destabilizing move by the party. The CEO of the Registrar General's Department resigns. In international news, U.S. says Israeli army units violated human rights. In sports, Real Madrid and Bayern Munich clash in Champions League semi-finals. And in business, HSBC chief executive unexpectedly steps down. The details after the break.
Variety is the spice of life. That's not just true for entertainment, it's true for investing too. While stocks, bonds, and cash are effective, there are other credible investment options out there. These are alternative investments, ranging from digital options like cryptocurrencies to old school investments like gold, real estate, and private equity. You can invest on your own or via a fund with a curated portfolio of investment options.
Visit barita.com/opportunities for more growth coach insights.
Catch the first news of the day. A comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. A poll commissioned by the PNP and published in Tuesday's edition of the Gleaner newspaper shows the opposition party with a sizable lead over the ruling JLP. The poll was conducted by Don Anderson's Market Research Services Limited between April 4 and 12 among persons over the age of 18. It canvassed the views of 1,057 respondents and has a margin of error of plus or minus 3%. It shows that if a general election were called shortly, the PNP would get the support of 36.8% of respondents. The JLP would get the support of 29% of respondents. Those numbers give the PNP a clear lead, 7.8 percentage points, well outside the margin of error. According to the poll, 19.1% of respondents say they are undecided and 15% say they will not vote. Don Anderson says the PNP continues to enjoy strong support from older persons. Notably, he says the PNP and the JLP are even when it comes to support in the 18 to 24 age group. He also notes that support for the PNP across both genders is stronger than the GLP. Anderson says 44% of respondents say they would vote for the PNP because the party looks after the poor. Meanwhile, a former PNP politician is dismissing the recent Don Anderson polls published by the Gleaner newspaper, which shows the opposition party with an almost 8 percentage points lead over the governing GLP. Venetia Phillips says the poll findings are part of a time-worn PNP strategy that the public must reject. Ms. Phillips made the statement on social media in reaction to the poll results, which were commissioned by the PNP. She also spoke with her news center.
They are no longer credible. You can get what you pay for in a poll. Today, no one can challenge that. As a matter of fact, PNP used to use this internally. It was used in a vicious and savage way. It is something they use when they want to remove candidates who would put up a fight anyway. So this is actually a strategic tool in the toolbox of the PNP. These polls, I wouldn't give any credence to them. This particular one. So rather than spend the money to help to develop people, you waste it on polls to do what? Massage the ego of the leader of the PNP? How sad. The good thing is, in Jamaica, Tom may look drunk, but Tom ain't no fool. So nobody is giving any credence to this.
Ms. Phillips says the poll is part of a strategy she saw employed several times by the PNP during her many years as a comrade.
I mean, come on, just think about it. It is so odd that a PNP commissioned poll has been run so many times by the Gleaner. And I can tell you why. They're hoping that people will not recognize it to be a PNP poll in order to validate it. But just think about it. I made a wager only yesterday. Yeah, man, I made a bet that the next news item is going to be that PNP or Mark Golding surges ahead. I only just noticed a tweet from Dayton saying the very same thing I made a bet about yesterday. This is a played out strategy by the PNP. And when I say played out, it is so overused.
Ms. Phillips says the PNP is concerned about the traction gained by the government in the wake of the implementation of several measures announced in the recent budget debate. She says the polls are intended to help blunt the impact of those budget measures.
But look at the stupidity of this particular poll. It is coming when they need a distraction from the fact that what? The 1st of April came in when the salary adjustments, the second part, would have taken effect. So it is coming in to coincide with the month-end payments. Teachers are feeling a little bit better. Public servants generally, those who have seen a movement in their salaries, they're in a kind of a different mood and mode. You see it all across social media, even from some known comrades, you know. And so what they want to do is detract from that.
Venetia Phillips, former PNP councillor for the Papine division in St. Andrew. Ms. Phillips lost the seat for the JLP at the recent local government elections. Nationwide News understands that Charlton McFarlane has resigned from his role as Chief Executive Officer of the Registrar General's Department, RGD. Mr. McFarlane is expected to leave office on Thursday, May 2. Or sources say Mr. McFarlane took the decision to leave now after learning that his contract would not be renewed. In a leaked letter obtained by Nationwide News dated Monday, April 29, 2024, Mr. McFarlane informed the staff of the RGD of the development. In the letter, he says he is, quote, preparing to start a new chapter in his journey, end quote. Charlton McFarlane has served as CEO of the RGD since February 2020. His resignation comes less than a week after a report by the Integrity Commission recommended that he be charged for failing to file his statutory declarations. The Integrity Commission's report was tabled in the House of Representatives last Tuesday. The report says says Mr. McFarlane was among 4 individuals who had failed to file statutory declarations for the years 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022. This is a breach of Section 43(1)(a) of the Integrity Commission Act. Principal Director of the Met Service, Evan Thompson, says the country can expect an increase in rainfall across the island beginning today. He was speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Monday.
We are expecting a few days of rain. Actually, starting tomorrow, we are expecting an increase in rainfall. That's because of a trough that's in the area. We are expecting that increase going into Thursday. I believe it will peak somewhere nearer to Thursday, more of the rain, and then it will dissipate going into the weekend, or we get back to what I suppose would be normal at this time. But we really are moving into May, and this is usually the time when we should look forward to receiving more rainfall. And the outlook is that things will gradually be changing, and we'll be moving from drought gradually between now and June until we start to see rainfall amounts that may even be above normal.
The island continues to grapple with drought conditions amid rising heat. According to the Met Service, a trough in the Central Caribbean is expected to produce unstable weather conditions. The trough is expected to last for the next few days. During this period, Jamaicans can expect an increase in cloudy conditions with showers and thunderstorms, especially in eastern parishes. Mr. Thompson says the impact of climate change has resulted in longer periods of drought along with increased rainfall.
From time to time, the drought would occur for a period of the year, and then it would be broken. The water would be replenished in whether it's in the aquifers or, generally with our rivers, even those that are really fed by the direct rainfall. So we've been getting rain, but it really is following the trend that was projected for climate change. We are seeing longer drought periods. We're seeing more intense droughts, and we're seeing the downpours with the rain that are producing some amounts of flooding. So that's really going to be the trend until we can reverse this whole climate change scenario.
Evan Thompson, Principal Director of the Met Service. Meanwhile, Minister with Responsibility for Water, Senator Matthew Samuda, says the outcome of discussions from Jamaica's first National Climate Forum will assist in guiding the government's plan to combat climate change.
We look forward to the discussions that will no doubt take place. We look forward to the basis of planning for the government to streamline its investments to ensure you have the tools that you need to better advise us. That WRA has the tools to digitize its monitoring network. That all of the agencies that touch our planning mechanisms have the tools, but we need to know what we're facing.
Senator Samuda was speaking at the opening ceremony for the Jamaica National Stakeholders Consultations on Climate Services and the first National Climate Forum on Monday. He says Jamaica's water sector will need an investment of over $3 billion or almost 470 billion Jamaican dollars over the next 6 years in order to achieve water resilience.
Governments like Jamaica, which have developmental challenges, you'll always have pressures on your education sector, on your infrastructure, on your farming sector, on your health sector, also now have to prioritize investments and especially collaborations on building our predictive capacity, on building our scientific capacity. Ultimately, we need to be able to assess our current climatic realities if we're to better plan, if we're to insist and ensure that our infrastructure meets the needs that we need it to.
Senator Matthew Samuda, Minister with Responsibility for Water. President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, Leighton Johnson, is welcoming the recommendation to establish school-based dispute resolution centers. He believes that course of action would be most efficient if supported by the deployment of more guidance counselors in schools. Abigail Bartley reports.
The recommendation to establish school-based dispute resolution centers was made by the private sector organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, in response to ongoing violence in the nation's schools. The PSOJ proposed that these centers be integrated within guidance counseling units and the offices of deans of discipline. The organization also recommended that the centers be staffed by conflict resolution professionals. The JTA president is welcoming the recommendations, but Leighton Johnson says Some of these mechanisms already exist in schools.
The suggestion made for conflict resolution centers within our schools, the guidance counselors, the deans of disciplines, they are already doing this. Of course, what we want is additional manpower to assist in the process. So, of course, the implementation or the deployment of conflict resolution specialists in our schools, this is something that our schools would welcome to assist or complement what is already being done.
Mr. Johnson says the current student-to-guidance counselor ratio in schools is 500 to 1. According to him, this is untenable.
There has to be that comprehensive review of the ratio of guidance counselors to students, and we are recommending anywhere between 250 to 300 students to a guidance counselor. Indeed, there is the need for additional guidance counselors within our schools. The issue, as you said, many of these incidents play out at school or in the vicinity, but it doesn't necessarily have its genesis at school. The community is the home, and that's where we all need to target.
Mr. Johnson notes that schools are required to report incidents of violence to the Ministry of Education on a monthly basis. He says this data could be used to develop a more targeted approach to violence in schools.
If we are analyzing the data from these logs, then we will see from a school the number of fights that took place within a month, where these fights took place, amongst who are the students who were involved, whether male or female. It tells the communities that these students come from. So this information is collated at the school. We now need to use this information to ensure as best as possible we target the interventions required.
Abigail Bartley for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the JTA president says more school resource officers, including social workers, need to be deployed across the country.
The community and the home. It makes no sense if at the school there is an intervention and then the students go back into an environment that continues to promote and promulgate violence. And in many instances, this is what we see happening. So it has to be a little more than just an intervention at school. It has to be a community-based intervention, and it has to be a home-based intervention.
Leighton Johnson, JTA president. In the meantime, President of the Jamaica Association of Chairmen of Secondary Institutions, Courtney Winter, says an increased security presence is needed at schools, especially at institutions in volatile areas.
That increased security presence at the school could include either private security or the security forces, namely the JCF, having more frequent patrols, for example, in vicinity of schools in the morning and especially after school, to ensure that there's no gatherings, there's no loitering after school, and just to monitor especially those schools that we consider to be troubled areas.
Mr. Winter says each school must have a mentoring program.
We know that most mentoring programs are run by alumni associations. There are some schools who may not have active alumni associations. And so this is where I think the community involvement would be very helpful. And corporate as well, corporations within the particular area or geographical area, this is where they could come in and help as well. It's going to take all hands on deck, which include the student councils, the student counselors, peer mentoring, community involvement, the establishment of an active PTA in every school, and we need to find a way to measure the effectiveness of each of these involvements.
Courtney Winter, President of the Jamaica Association of Chairmen of Secondary Institutions. And that's it for the local segment of the news. Up next, regional and international.
Jumpstart your fitness goals with Express Fitness. Sign up today and restart your fitness journey at an Express Fitness location near you. Enjoy safe, comfortable, and well-equipped gyms from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. Call 554-5180 for a full listing of our open locations. Express Fitness. Express Fitness. Your goal, our mission.
In regional and international news this morning, regional news in the Bahamas, a magistrate's court will on May 8 decide the fate of a man who allegedly threatened to kill Prime Minister Philip Davis in 2023. The prosecution says Isaac Roberts called the Central Police Station on February 8, 2023, warning that the Prime Minister would be killed if the leader of the Coalition of Independence, Lincoln Bain, wasn't released from police custody. The court heard that a policeman received a telephone call from an unidentified man seeking the whereabouts of Bain, but hung up when asked to identify himself. But 3 to 5 minutes later, the same person called the police station saying, "If you don't release Lincoln Bain, Brave will be dead." The police say the call was traced to Roberts, who was arrested later that day and admitted calling the Central Police Station twice. The court heard that when the police asked Roberts whether he intended to carry out the threat, he said he wouldn't, but someone else might, based on the protests going on at the time. In international news, the U.S. State Department has found 5 units of the Israeli military responsible for gross violations of human rights in individual incidents, but says they will continue to receive U.S. military backing. All the incidents involved took place outside of Gaza before the current war. The department says Israel took corrective action in 4 units, giving additional information on the 5th. This means all the units remain eligible for U.S. military assistance. Washington is Israel's major military backer, supplying it with $3.8 billion U.S. worth of weapons and defense systems per year. The announcement is the first determination of its kind for any Israeli unit by the U.S. government. State Department spokesman Vedant Patel said 5 security forces units committed gross violations of human rights. And that's it for regional and international. Up next, sports.
The National Solid Waste Management Authority's mobile application was launched on June 5, 2020 to facilitate digital reports of littering in public spaces and illegal dumping. Since then, there have been more than 2,000 app downloads and more than 1,500 reports. Mikhail Graham, a teacher by profession, shares his experience with the app.
I believe that majority of individuals can use it regardless of age or limited knowledge of internet or technology. It was quite easy to navigate as you had the different options for you to fill in your name, email address, number, and a part for you to include what the status was like. And out of 10, generally, it would be like a 9 out of 10 in terms of user-friendly.
You can download the NSWMA app by visiting the Google Play Store or the iOS Apple Store and typing in NSWMA. A message brought to you by the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
In your morning sports report, Waterhouse and Arnott Gardens booked their spots in the semi-finals of the Wren Nephew Jamaica Premier League on Monday night. Javane Bryan with his league equaling 16th goal of the season and Andre Fletcher with his 12th netted for Waterhouse to beat Tivoli Gardens 2-0 in the second leg of their quarter-final tie at Sabina Park to advance 3-1 on aggregate. Assistant coach Damien Gordon gave credit to his team for sticking to the game plan.
We just always take a humble step to everything. And tonight we did that. I think we took our chances very well. I still think that we had some more chances where we could have capitalized on, but we're still grateful. And I just want to send a word of prayer for that player today that got injured. And I hope he's at the hospital. And I'm also praying for the doctors to do an excellent job with him. But again, it's football. But again, hats off to Tivoli. They really pressed us today. And I think they also forced us in terms of how well we look defensively.
Waterhouse assistant coach Damon Gordon. The player to which Gordon referred in that clip is Nicalia Fuller of Tivoli, who suffered a broken leg and is now in hospital. In the other second leg quarterfinal, Arnott Gardens, with a 90th minute goal from captain Fabian Reed, defeated Portmore United 1-0 to progress 2-1 on aggregate. Arnott's coach is Xavier Gilbert.
We knew that it was just a matter of time. We had to maintain the sustained pressure, and we continue to do so. We continue to plug away, and we finally got it in the end. Happy for them. I think they really deserve it. And it's a huge boost heading into the semi-final. They should be confident. And we're just gonna go back, recover, and get ready for the next game.
Sunday's semi-finals will see Arnott Gardens facing Cavalier and Waterhouse against the champions Mount Pleasant Academy, both games at Sabina Park. Record champions Real Madrid will today continue their quest for a 15th European Champions League crown when they travel to Germany to face Bayern Munich in the first leg of semi-final 1 at the Allianz Arena in Munich. The first leg of semi-final 2 is set for Wednesday between Borussia Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain in Germany. Noah Lyles, Femke Ball, and Bahamian stars Shawnee Miller-Weibo, Stephen Garden, and Devin Charlton will be among the athletes in action at the World Athletics Relays in the Bahamas on May 4 and 5. The competition holds extra significance as it is the main qualifying event for relay events at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Competition takes place at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium in Nassau. The program features 5 relay events, women's and men's 4x100 meters and 4x400 meters, as well as the mixed 4x400 meters. The top 8 teams in each event will be awarded prize money. First place will receive $40,000, second place $20,000, and third place $10,000. Fourth place will pocket $8,000, fifth place $6,000, sixth place $4,000, seventh place $3,000, and $2,000 for the 8th placed teams. If a team breaks a world record, a prize of $50,000 will be awarded, subject to record ratification. And that's it for your morning sports.
Attention all commuters, your JUTC fares just got lower. Use your Smarter card today and pay only $50. Yes, only $50. Travel safe and hassle-free with the JUTC using your Smarter card. But wait, there's more. Get 3 free rides with your first Smarter card top-up before May 31. With your Smarter card, paying your fare is easier. Say goodbye to coins and hello to hassle-free travel. Don't miss this opportunity when you travel with the JUTC, your route to excellence. Conditions apply.
In business this morning, HSBC's Group Chief Executive Officer Noel Quinn is unexpectedly retiring after nearly 5 years in the role. Europe's largest bank says it is in the process of finding a successor for 62-year-old Mr. Quinn, who will stay in the role until a new chief executive is named. HSBC is considering candidates from both inside and outside the firm. It comes as the UK-based lender reported a 1.8% drop in profit for the first 3 months of 2024 compared to the same time last year. The company said that its pre-tax profit for the period came in at $12.7 billion or 10 billion pounds, which was a little better than expected by market analysts. Chinese car giant BYD has seen profits fall as it is hit by slowing demand for electric vehicles EV and a price war in the world's largest car market. The firm said it made $630 million in the first 3 months of the year, more than 47% lower than the previous quarter. BYD has been competing with Elon Musk's Tesla to be the world's biggest seller of EVs. The U.S. giant reclaimed the title earlier this month after losing out to its Chinese rival at the end of last year. BYD says it sold just over 300,000 battery-only cars in the first 3 months of the year, down from a record 526,000 in the final quarter of 2023. The Shenzhen-based firm's latest financial results suggest it may be performing better than Tesla, which posted its first quarterly revenue fall since the pandemic disrupted its production and sales in 2020. BYD and its rivals have been involved in a price war in China as they compete for market share at a time of slower economic growth. Finally now, in foreign exchange trading this morning, the Jamaican dollar has gained 27 cents and will open trading today, selling for an average $156.94 against the benchmark US dollar. The Jamaican dollar gained 43 cents and will open trading this morning, selling for an average $115.77 against the Canadian. And finally, the Jamaican dollar has also gained $2.33 and will open trading today, selling for an average $194.97 against the British pound. That's it for business this morning.
For all your musical needs, visit the Music Mart, the most complete music store in Jamaica. Telephone 876-960-7712. The time brought to you by the Music Mart is
6:31.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
My name is Michael Rose, Rastafari.
My name is Puma.
My name is Ducky Simpson.
I'm Sly Dunbar. My name is Robbie Shakespeare.
What's the matter, people? Solidarity. Solidarity. Everybody wants the same thing, don't they? Everybody wants a happy end. They wanna see the game on Saturday. They wanna be somebody's friend. Everybody wanna work for a living. Everybody wants their children warm. Everybody wants to be forgiven. They wanna shelter from the storm. Look at me, I ain't a enemy. We walk on common ground. We don't need to fight each other. What we need, solidarity. Oh, solidarity. Solidarity. Oh yeah, solidarity. Nobody likes to ask for money. Nobody likes to play the clown. Nobody likes to wait in a long line. Nobody likes being pushed around. Everybody wants a family protected. They wanna express themselves. Everybody wants to live forever. Look at me, I ain't an enemy. Don't believe everything you hear. This is no time to fight each other. What we need, solidarity. Solidarity. Oh, solidarity. Hey people! Everybody wants the same thing down there. Everybody wants a happy end. They wanna see the game on Saturday. They wanna be somebody's friend. Everybody wants the same thing down there. Everybody wants a happy end. They wanna see the game on Saturday. They wanna be somebody's friend. Everybody wants to work for a living. They wanna keep their children warm. Everybody just wanna be forgiven. They wanna shelter from the storm. What we need.
Tana, make it the starter for this one. Good morning, Tana. Good morning, listeners. This is Nationwide this morning. My name is George Davis.
And I'm Tana Thomas.
Tana, I also enjoyed this morning. But Tana, you know I want to tell you that the song that Jermaine played this morning is an uplifting song. It's, well, you hear the title track. It's one of the most successful reggae albums done by a group called Black Uhuru.
Yes.
It was released in the United States in 1983, but released internationally in 84. And it won the Reggae Grammy in 1985. And yeah, man, Sly and Robbie produced the whole album. And a whole heap of tune upon the album because the man, them not give you quantity, and them give you quality. And you know my favorite song on that album, King? Guess who's coming to dinner? Jesus.
Oh, you had it waiting.
Are you a genius, you know? Are you a genius? Oh, God. I'm a Rasta uncle. I want to theme tune this one. Not the dreadlocks.
So is that an alert so they don't cook pork?
Except when Tana come.
Listen, I'm coming to dinner, so ensure you put no Trenton
no
on the table.
Trenton around here, no sausage.
No sausage.
Yeah, and there's a item sausage vegetable.
No bacon.
What the man say now?
Don't show how you did.
Plastic smile can't work.
I like that one.
So the road rage driver Tana, when he walks into court for his first appearance and he smiles at the judge ever said to him, "So no show I not eat plastic smile."
That's not gonna help you today. But in a case like that, I'm wondering, shouldn't they just take away his license for a while? And the musical maestro says this is what the judge is also telling the driver.
General Penitentiary. You know, if you don't know, is even bad, you need to find John Holt up Park Camp. You know? Alright, sir. Why is him not change Black Hoover? Morning again, Tona.
Good morning to you. Yeah?
Oh boy.
You know, George, music has so many messages, and people use music to communicate certain things and to communicate what's happening within their space and all of that. And I just really, really do appreciate the music of the days gone by. It's, you know, so different, so profound, so powerful from what you're hearing now. Music Absolutely. Like what Jermaine just played, timeless. Music from Bob Marley, all of them. I'm saying, you know, when they sat down to pen these lyrics, yeah, just powerful and different. And I like that. But, yeah, under the weather, but what is on my mind this morning, a lot of attention has been focused over the last 2 to 3 weeks on violence in our schools because of the several incidents that have occurred involving our students. And what you see captured on video and the accounts of the circumstances gives many of us reasons to pause and question what is really going on. Is it overexposure to bad things? Is it overexposure on social media? Is it their lived experiences at home playing out? Have they been taught to respond to conflict with conflict? Is there some mental trauma or hurt that is fueling how certain students are responding to disagreements with their peers? And I think in our current dispensation, George and our listeners, it's a combination of all of these factors and more. Broken homes with hurt, maladaptive children functioning in ways they have lived and learned to function. And this is one, I believe, of the biggest hurdles Jamaica, this society, will have to cross if we're really about significantly reversing the cycle of children turning to violence almost like a default setting to address issues when they arise. As a start, it's going to take reassessing all the measures we have been using over the years to address violence in our schools and violent children. What is working and what is not working? And I did listen, George, to the Minister of Education, Favour Williams, last week, Friday, talking to you guys and itemizing so many programs in our schools. She mentioned a socialization department involving the police, programs on peace education, partnerships with the Jamaica Conservation Development Trust for therapeutic sessions, among so many other things that she mentioned. But when is the last time that data was collected, collated, assessed to see which of the programs are really generating the greatest success and which ones are failing, really? Which programs need more funding and which programs need to just be discontinued? And that must be done to ensure the programs are fulfilling its intended purpose, and where there's room for new measures and the doing away with older, ineffective ones, that has to be done at this time. Now, I heard something last evening, George, that I was hearing for the first time, and I can see how that could be used to respond to the current challenges. The president of the Jamaica Teachers Association says every month, reports from all public schools about the number of violent incidents and the circumstances of that is written and sent to the Ministry of Education. Here's what he said.
We will continue to maintain our stance on that position, that in schools that have a greater propensity for violence, school resource officers need to be deployed in those schools.
How do you determine that greater propensity for violence, though, Mr. Johnson?
You hear it around Cliff. You see it. The principals will tell you. The data is there. The data is disseminated to the Ministry of Education on a monthly basis. once there is always
I mean the reports of incidents of violence?
Of incidents of violence within the schools.
Oh.
Every month, deans of disciplines have a requirement of submitting to the Ministry of Education an incident report, a log of all the incidents within the schools. Now, if we are analyzing the data from these logs, then we will see from a school the number of fights that took place within a month, where these fights took place, amongst whom the fights were in, or the students were involved, whether male or female. It tells the communities that these students come from. So this information is collated at the school. We now need to use this information to ensure as best as possible we target the interventions at the required
So
places.
schools, as a matter of course, are required to report incidents of violence?
Yes, they are. Yes, schools are required to do so.
Every month?
Every month.
Every month, these reports from all public schools are sent to the Ministry of Education. And I heard the PSOJ President, Metri Siaga, yesterday urging government to use the data that you have. And there is no clearer data than that to guide how the ministry, the government, schools, parents, and other stakeholders in crafting tailored responses to match the circumstances of a particular school or particular children based on what you're seeing from those reports that you're getting every single month. What school A, with 12 fights a month, drug use, and students showing off guard rings may need is not what school B, with 2 fights every quarter, will need, but the report is guiding you so you'll be able to tailor what one particular school needs or what the response to one particular school should be in comparison to another. And if you look further into that data that you're getting, it may show that at school A, student Sammy has been cited in more than one report for behavioral issues. Sammy is from Community X and a broken home. How can we help Sammy? How are we going to get Sammy's guardians, parents, mother, father actively involved in the process of helping Sammy? What is going on in Sammy's home that is causing Sammy to be delinquent? Cause Sammy to act out the way that Sammy is acting out. And if we are to intensify the sort of clinical response aided by the data that you're getting every single month, some budgetary realignment, greater recruitment of certain professionals, and collective effort, then we could perhaps see a re-engineering and some change in how we are responding to violence and how our students are behaving. There's nothing we can't do when we have or need to do it, And this is one of the things we need to do more clinically if we really want to reverse a cycle of broken homes and maladaptive behavior and poor conflict resolution. The budget has to be realigned to recruit more guidance counselors. Can you make room for some more and place them where the data is telling you that they're needed? And I think the call by the private sector organization of Jamaica for conflict resolution professionals also has merit. And again, use the data to tell you where those trained persons are most needed. Every school won't need to have a conflict resolution professional. Members of the constabulary who are resource officers are no longer posted in schools as well, but they can be called upon when needed. And here I'd say again, let the data guide that approach. Where the data shows that a temporary police post needs to be established, that should be done. It's about pivoting to meet the circumstances presented by the schools monthly. A part of that recruiting I spoke about earlier includes more social workers. We have to get into the homes and remain with those homes. And I can't stress that enough. Something is going on in some of these homes that is just waiting to be discovered. And you won't know unless you step in and pull the curtain. Broken homes create broken children. And hurt people hurt people. We must get into the homes and also create a space for children to speak freely. Because if we're about significantly shifting the cycle of violence in the young before they get old, that's how we'll have to do it. And that's what's on my mind.
Fancy little words I am out in the meditation of your heart. Be acceptable. Or else you know that you're going to be responsible. Say. And I say you find yourself with an instrument of influence. Use it in a positive sense. or else you're gonna pay the consequence. Rebel speaks again. I say be careful what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you saying to my sister. She could be the next prime minister. I say if you watch what you saying to me daughter, cause in the long run she could be your doctor. Oh, you fi mention that to me son Dan. I mean no woman little boy fit on a gunman.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:48.
Good health starts with proper hydration. Hydrate your body with Hydrate. Hydrate is purified natural water from rocks 110 feet below the ground. You have never tasted water so great, yet so affordable. Yes, taste and experience it for yourself. Water at its best. Hydrate. Available also as purified alkaline water and ultra-purified distilled water. Bottled by LLNSCS Limited, a subsidiary of Max Pharmaceuticals. Call 876-983-6466.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute is brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
And JAA, keeping you mobile.
Time now for Street Smarts 1 with the gentleman, Ludlow McLean from the El Shaddai Taxi Company. They say I must not ask him where he is. So it's plain. Good morning, Ludlow.
Morning, George. Morning, Tony.
Hey to you, Ludlow.
Morning, Tony. This is about in public college. Never want to be now visitors. George, quickly, what is the current trend of music?
Trap down soul in Jamaica, Afrobeats.
The current trend.
Trap. They call it.
Think it's gonna last like the older one?
Absolutely not, sir. Listen,
right.
I never know how to live to see man and sing about Obia. So appear them something in the song them. No.
Anyway, I don't want to hold up the traffic report, but just to highlight something that happened this morning. Me have been about half an hour ago, and that's in the vicinity of Grange Lane. Those of you who know Portmore Grange Lane area, that me coming from the Lake Pen side, you use Grange Lane to get into Portmore, into the Independent City area. There's an accident there. It involves a little car called Mr. Note, grey in color, and there was a collision between it. The Note and a Toyota Coaster, a public passenger vehicle, yes, one of those 25-seater buses, brown and beige in color. The Note is not really looking good because it's completely destroyed, and I don't know if there are any casualties, but those of you in that area, Independent City, heading to Grange Lane, or you're coming from the Newlands area or the 95, this time, you should be impacted now because it happened earlier on when the traffic was flowing. So now you might have, and the consequence of that, the lights were not working, so somebody may have disappeared the traffic signal. So whenever the lights are not working, motorists, you have to be careful. You can't just willy-nilly just run through the lights because it's not working. So as a consequence, an accident occurred. And just to tell you that that area always has traffic. But let me tell you what's happening on the Mandela westbound to Spanish Town, free-flowing, eastbound traffic coming off the North-South Highway or Edward Seattle Highway onto the Mandela. You will encounter traffic going eastbound into 6 miles. And already from early this morning, Washington Boulevard, Spanish Town Road, all these areas have traffic. Those of you in the Kingston 8 area coming off Manor Park, the long lane into Manor Park, traffic all the way. Some of the traffic has branched off onto Olivia Road, Road. Constantine is flowing until they get closer towards the Mary Browns and going further. Don Robin has traffic from early this morning. So it means that it's building all the time. And no doubt, by the time we get to our second report, we'll be giving you further updates. So for the time being, back to you, George.
Thank you, Ludlow. Ludlow McLean from the El Shaddai Taxi Company with Street Smarts 1. Up next, your word of the day.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute was brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
And JAA, keeping you mobile.
Your word of the day is spelled Jouissance, spelled Jouissance.
Jouissance. Jouissance. Jouissance.
Jouissance is your word of the day from hear it, you know it's originating out of France. It's a French word, jouissance, and it's a noun, and it simply means pleasure or enjoyment. Simply means pleasure or enjoyment, and dictionary.com is telling us this morning that jouissance was first recorded in English in 1480, between 1480 and 1490. And to use it in a sentence, the ballet performance was a masterpiece of grace and passion, eliciting feelings of jouissance, of enjoyment, in all who had the privilege to witness it. The ballet performance was a masterpiece of grace and passion, eliciting feelings of jouissance, which means pleasure or enjoyment, in all who had the privilege to witness it. Jouissance, it's your word of the day, Jouissance. Up next, your features at the top of the hour, the news.
You may be eating healthy, or so you think. But that fruit smoothie you've just had is smacked with calories and you didn't even know it. Today on Food for Thought, health trends that may seem healthy but in reality are not. Even when you think you're eating healthy, you may want to think again. There are some foods pretending to be healthier than they really are, or they may be healthy only if you don't overdo them. According to dietitian Dr. Laura Jeffers, there are 6 foods that could be undermining your attempts at a healthy lifestyle or to lose weight. Number 1 on the list, smoothies. As nutritionally packed as vegetable and fruit smoothies may be, the amount of ingredients you put in your smoothie can pack on the pounds. If you load it up with fruit, juice, and protein, it can contain up to 1,500 calories. Not what you were intending, right? Opt for this instead. Add some fruit for flavor, but focus on veggies. Also, add some leafy greens in the mix. Greens that are low in calories but packed with nutrients. A few pineapple chunks can help make the baby spinach or kale into a smoothie easier to enjoy. Number 2, stay away from granola and trail mix as they are your worst enemies. Yes, granola has healthy properties, whole oats and grains, but it's often prepared with a lot of butter and oil. If it is sticky and clumped, that's an indicator of an unhealthy recipe. Granola averages a whopping 400 calories per cup. The same is true for calorie-dense nuts and dried fruits. A single cup of almonds contains more than 500 calories. If you must have it, just remember a little bit goes a long way. Number 3, this may hurt some people, but you have got to watch how you consume bagels. Most bagels contain 3 or 4 servings of carbohydrates. And if you add cream cheese, it can have more than 400 calories and contain a whopping 25% of the daily allowance of sodium. If you compare a plain bagel and a simple glazed donut, they have about the same number of calories. That's 215 and 229 respectively. Donuts are hardly a health food and certainly contain more sugar than bagels. But bagels sometimes fly under the radar as a good, regular breakfast option. Number 4, having a soup and a salad. I know, you're like, what? Yes, sorry to say, but the devil is indeed in the details. Cream-based soups can be quite high in fat. And when it comes to a salad, it can stop being a low-calorie meal once you add croutons, cured meats, and high-fat dressing. The other, less obvious issue with soups at restaurants is that they're notoriously high in sodium. Too much salt doesn't just raise your blood pressure, it also increases your risk of stroke, heart failure, osteoporosis, stomach cancer, and kidney disease. Number 5, fat-free foods. Some fat-free foods are really healthy. These include cheese and other dairy products made with skimmed rather than whole milk. But usually, manufacturers of fat-free foods add sugar or high-fructose corn syrup to help lengthen their shelf life. This adds empty calories. People tend to have a phobia of fat, but healthy fats are essential to our diet as long as you eat fats in moderation. Choosing monounsaturated fats like those in nuts or fish is a better option. That's food for thought today.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
If you sprinkle when you tinkle, please be neat and wipe the seat. Hi, I'm Tana, and today on Lifestyle Pages, proper bathroom practices in the workplace. So, always remember to flush and check the toilet seat for unwanted stains or substances. Make sure you do not wet the toilet seat. Do not spill water on the floor, as someone might slip and get hurt. Sanitary napkins must be wrapped and disposed of in the designated dustbins. Do not leave the restroom with the tap on. It's important to conserve water. Do not throw unwanted hair or soap wrappers into the wash basin. Remember, you're not the only person using the restroom. There are other employees as well. I'm Tana, and those were your Lifestyle Pages.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
From Negril Point to Morant Bay, a little kindness can go a far way. The time by the Jamaica Information Service is...
News time, 7 o'clock.
If you need to build it, plumb it, weld it, pave it, or power it, National Supply has it. Get the best brands for the job at Jamaica's Industrial Hardware Superstore, Kingston Normal Bay. The temperature by National Supply is...
28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Coming up in the news this morning, Tuesday, April 30, 2024, latest Don Anderson poll shows the PNP with an almost 8 percentage point lead over the JLP in terms of which party people would support if a general election was held shortly. But a former PNP politician dismisses the poll as a classic destabilizing move by the party. The CEO of the Registrar General's Department resigns. And in international news, 8 policemen shot, 4 fatally, while serving a warrant in Charlotte, North Carolina.
News at 7 is brought to you by Fosrich, your electrical, lighting, solar, and LED people.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. A poll commissioned by the PNP and published in Tuesday's edition of the Gleaner newspaper shows the opposition party with a sizable lead over the ruling JLP. The poll was conducted by Don Anderson's Market Research Services Limited between April 4 and 12 among persons over the age of 18. It canvassed the views of 1,057 respondents and has a margin of error of plus or minus 3%. It shows that if a general election were called shortly, the PNP would get the support of 36.8% of respondents. The JLP would get the support of 29% of respondents. Those numbers give the PNP a clear lead, 7.8 percentage points, well outside the margin of error. According to the poll, 19.1% of respondents say they are undecided and 15% say they will not vote. Don Anderson says the PNP continues to enjoy strong support from older persons. Notably, he says the PNP and JLP are even when it comes to support in the 18 to 24 age group. He also notes that support for the PNP across both genders is stronger than the JLP. Anderson says 44% of respondents say they would vote for the PNP because the party looks after the poor. Meanwhile, a former PNP politician is dismissing the recent Don Anderson polls published by the Gleaner newspaper, which shows the opposition party with an almost 8 percentage point lead over the ruling JLP. Venetia Phillips says the poll findings are part of a time-worn PNP strategy that the public must reject. She made the statement on social media in reaction to the poll results, which were commissioned by the PNP. She also spoke with our news center.
they are no longer credible. You can get what you pay for in a poll. Today, no one can challenge that. As a matter of fact, PNP used to use this internally. It was used in a vicious and savage way. It is something they use when they want to remove candidates who would put up a fight anyway. So this is actually a strategic tool in the toolbox of the PNP. These polls, I wouldn't give any credence to them. This particular one. So rather than spend the money to help to develop people, you waste it on polls to do what? Massage the ego of the leader of the PNP? How sad. The good thing is, in Jamaica, Tom may look drunk, but Tom ain't no fool. So nobody is giving any credence to this.
Ms. Phillips says the poll is part of a strategy she saw employed several times by the PNP during her many years as a comrade.
I mean, come on, just think about it. It is so odd that a PNP commissioned poll has been run so many times by the Gleaner. And I can tell you why. They're hoping that people will not recognize it to be a PNP poll in order to validate it. But just think about it. I made a wager only yesterday. Yeah, man, I made a bet that the next news item is going to be that PNP or Mark Golding surges ahead. I only just noticed a tweet from Dayton saying the very same thing I made a bet about yesterday. This is a played out strategy by the PNP. And when I say played out, it is so overused.
Ms. Phillips says the PNP is concerned about the traction gained by the government in the wake of the implementation of several measures announced in the recent budget debate. She says the polls are intended to help blunt the impact of those budget measures.
But look at the stupidity of this particular poll. It is coming when they need a distraction from the fact that what? The 1st of April came in when the salary adjustments, the second part, would have taken effect. So it is coming in to coincide with the month-end payments. Teachers are feeling a little bit better. Public servants generally, those who have seen a movement in their salaries, they're in a kind of a different mood and mode. You see it all across social media, even from some known comrades, you know. And so what they want to do is detract from that.
Venetia Phillips, former PNP councillor for the Papine Division in St. Andrew. Ms. Phillips lost the seat for the JLP at the recent local government elections. Nationwide News understands that Charlton McFarlane has resigned from his role as Chief Executive Officer of the Registrar General's Department, the RGD. Mr. McFarlane is set to leave office on Thursday, May 2. Our sources say McFarlane took the decision to leave now after learning that his contract would not be renewed. In a leaked letter obtained by Nationwide News dated Monday, April 29, 2024, Mr. McFarlane informed the staff of the RGD of the development. In the letter, he says he is preparing to start a new chapter in his journey. Charlton McFarlane has served as CEO of the RGD since February 2020. His resignation comes less than a week after the report by the Integrity Commission recommended that he be charged for failing to file his statutory declarations. The Integrity Commission's report was tabled in the House of Representatives last Tuesday. The report says Mr. McFarlane was among 4 individuals who failed to file statutory declarations for the years 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022. This is a breach of Section 43(1)(a) of the Integrity Commission Act. Principal Director of the Met Service, Evan Thompson, says the country can expect an increase in rainfall across the island beginning today. He was speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Monday.
We are expecting a few days of rain. Actually, starting tomorrow, we are expecting an increase in rainfall. That's because of a trough that's in the area. We are expecting that increase going into Thursday. I believe it will peak somewhere nearer to Thursday, more of the rain, and then it will dissipate going into the weekend, or we get back to what I suppose would be normal at this time. But we really are moving into May, and this is usually the time when we should look forward to receiving more rainfall. And the outlook is that things will gradually be changing, and we'll be moving from drought gradually between now and June until we start to see rainfall amounts that may even be above normal.
The island continues to grapple with drought conditions amid rising heat. According to the Met Service, a trough in the Central Caribbean is set to produce unstable weather conditions. The trough is expected to last for the next few days. During this period, Jamaicans can expect an increase in cloudy conditions with showers and thunderstorms, especially in eastern parishes. Mr. Thompson says the impact of climate change has resulted in longer periods of drought along with increased rainfall.
From time to time, the drought would occur for a period of the year, and then it would be broken. The water would be replenished in whether it's in the aquifers or, generally with our rivers, even those that are really fed by the direct rainfall. So we've been getting rain, but it really is following the trend that was projected for climate change. We are seeing longer drought periods. We're seeing more intense droughts, and we're seeing the downpours with the rain that are producing some amounts of flooding. So that's really going to be the trend until we can reverse this whole climate change scenario.
Evan Thompson, Principal Director of the Met Service. Meanwhile, Minister with responsibility for water, Senator Matthew Samuda, says the outcome of discussions from Jamaica's first National Climate Forum will assist in guiding the government's plan to combat climate change.
We look forward to the discussions that will no doubt take place. We look forward to the basis of planning for the government to streamline its investments to ensure you have the tools that you need to better advise us. That WRA has the tools to digitize its monitoring network. That all of the agencies that touch our planning mechanisms have the tools, but we need to know what we're facing.
Senator Samuda was speaking at the opening ceremony for the Jamaica National Stakeholder Consultation on Climate Services and the first National Climate Forum on Monday. He says Jamaica's water sector will need an investment of over $3 billion or almost 470 billion Jamaican dollars over the next 6 years in order to achieve water resilience.
Governments like Jamaica, which have developmental challenges, you'll always have pressures on your education sector, on your infrastructure, on your farming sector, on your health sector, also now have to prioritize investments and especially collaborations on building our predictive capacity, on building our scientific capacity. Ultimately, we need to be able to assess our current climatic realities if we're to better plan, if we're to insist and ensure that our infrastructure meets the needs that we need it to.
Senator Matthew Samuda, Minister with responsibility for water. The President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, Leighton Johnson, is welcoming the recommendation to establish school-based dispute resolution centers. He believes that course of action would be most efficient if supported by the deployment of more guidance counselors in schools. Abigail Bartley reports.
The recommendation to establish school-based dispute resolution centers was made by the private sector organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, in response to ongoing violence in the nation's schools. The PSOJ proposed that these centers be integrated within guidance counseling units and the offices of deans of discipline. The organization also recommended that the centers be staffed by conflict resolution professionals. The JTA president is welcoming the recommendations, but Leighton Johnson says some of these mechanisms already exist in schools.
The suggestion made for conflict resolution centers within our schools, the guidance counselors, the deans of discipline, they are already doing this. Of course, what we want is additional manpower to assist in the process. So, of course, the implementation or the deployment of conflict resolution specialists in our schools, this is something that our schools would welcome to assist or complement what is already being done.
Mr. Johnson says the current student-to-guidance counselor ratio in schools is 500 to 1. According to him, this is untenable.
There has to be that comprehensive review of the ratio of guidance counselors to students, and we are recommending anywhere between 250 to 300 students to a guidance counselor. Indeed, there is the need for additional guidance counselors within our schools. The issue, as you said, many of these incidents play out at school or in the vicinity, but it doesn't necessarily have its genesis at school. The community is the home, and that's where we all need to target.
Mr. Johnson notes that schools are required to report incidents of violence to the Ministry of Education on a monthly basis. He says this data could be used to develop a more targeted approach to violence in schools.
If we are analyzing the data from these logs, then we will see from a school the number of fights that took place within a month, where these fights took place, amongst who or the students were involved, whether male or female. It tells the communities that these students come from. So this information is collated at the school. We now need to use this information to ensure as best as possible we target the interventions required.
Abigail Bartley for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the JTA president says more school resource officers, including social workers, need to be deployed across the country.
The community and the home. It makes no sense if at the school there is an intervention and then the students go back into an environment that continues to promote and promulgate violence. And in many instances, this is what we see happening. So it has to be a little more than just an intervention at school. It has to be a community-based intervention, and it has to be a home-based intervention.
Leighton Johnson, JTA president. International news now. 4 law enforcement officers were fatally shot and 4 others were wounded while serving an arrest warrant in Charlotte, North Carolina. A suspected attacker was found dead in the front yard of a barricaded home after a standoff that lasted 3 hours. 2 other persons of interest were taken in for questioning. It is one of the deadliest assaults on U.S. law enforcement in recent years. The officers were part of a U.S. Marshals Service-led task force. The warrant they were attempting to serve on Monday was against a felon wanted for illegally possessing a firearm. Gunfire erupted on the suburban streets as they tried to do so. The officers returned fire at an assailant in the front yard, then more shots were fired at them from inside the home. A high-powered rifle was found inside the property. The dead suspect was later identified as 39-year-old Terry Clark Hughes Jr., who was wanted for possession of firearm by a felon. Charlotte's Mayor V. Lyles called on the city to honor the legacy of these slain policemen.
The most that I can ask of our community is that we honor and respect them for all the work that they've done, all the work that we will do to make it possible for our city to be safer. Every one of us wants to be in a situation where you get up this morning and get to come back home, and someone didn't today.
V. Lyles, Charlotte's mayor. That's the news.
News at 7 was brought to you by Fosrich, your electrical, lighting, solar, and LED people.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:15.
Employers, mark your calendars. The annual Employers Return, SO2, originally due March 31, 2024, is now due on April 2, 2024. File online at jamaicatax.gov.jm. Contact 888-TAX-HELP for more assistance. The temperature by Tax Administration Jamaica, working together to serve you even better, is
28 degrees Celsius in both Kingston and Montego Bay.
So, Arosa's Gourmet Outlet is now serving lunch at 53 Upper Waterloo Road, Kingston 8. This gourmet outlet is offering reasonable prices on hams, wines, fresh and smoked meats, sausages, cheese, chocolates, meat and cheese platter, and so much more. Call them now at 876-999-0191 for more info, or visit 53 Upper Waterloo and get great deals all year round.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute is brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
And
JAA, keeping you mobile.
Time now for Street Smarts 2 with the gentleman, Ludlow McLean from the El Shaddai Taxi Company. Morning again, Ludlow.
Morning again, morning again, George. Remember, this is a reminder. When the lights are not working, you have to be very careful. Very careful. Don't assume that you have the right to it. No one has the right to it. So you have to be careful. You don't have to be SST or AP. You just know that if you know the rules of driving. Anyway, all of these areas I mentioned earlier on, it's more traffic coming out of Portmore. If you're trying to get to the Municipal Boulevard, you're going to have traffic. Take it to the Mandela. It's the same thing. If you're on George Lee Boulevard or you're on Dawkins Drive, if you're on the Port Henderson Road, if you're trying to make it to the toll, you're going to find it quite busy, quite active. And going down Marcus Garvey Drive, you also have traffic. Traffic is coming from as far as 3 miles, and remember, from 6 miles to 3 miles, bumper to bumper traffic. The road service here is not so smooth either, so it makes things a little, challenging. Hadley Park Road from 3 miles then going up steady, but when you get closer to East Park Road, that's where you're going to have to traffic, and that traffic goes across the South Golden Avenue. Half Street Square busy, all 4 lanes are busy as in enter Half Street Square. Once you get over to Half Street Road, it's not too bad. Steady flow going down. We're coming from Hope Road. Arden Road has traffic, the intersection of Trafalgar, Hope Road, coming into Half Street Square. And remember, Waterloo Road is ready for this one, bump to bump traffic. Likewise, Kingsley, the road that runs parallel, all the way onto Hope Road. Most of the areas now and all the intersections are busy. All right, so that's the second report for the morning. To urge you, please use your carriageway properly. Keep left, pass right. Keep left, pass right. Rest of us, street smart. Good morning, as usual. And keep smart. Your safety is welcome. George.
Thank you, my friend. All the best. Ludlow McLean there from the El Shaddai Taxi Company with Street Smarts 2. Up next, the front page.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute was brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
And JAA, keeping you mobile.
Front Page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. You're now tuned into our discussion segment, The Front Page. This morning we're getting the perspectives of PTA presidents on violence in our schools. President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA Leighton Johnson, is welcoming the recommendation to establish school-based dispute resolution centers. He believes that course of action would be most efficient if supported by the deployment of more guidance counselors in our schools. Here's more by Abigail Bartley.
The recommendation to establish school-based dispute resolution centers was made by the private sector organization of Jamaica PSOJ in response to ongoing violence in the nation's schools. The PSOJ proposed that these centers be integrated within guidance counseling units and the offices of deans of discipline. The organization also recommended that the centers be staffed by conflict resolution professionals. The JTA president is welcoming the recommendations, but Leighton Johnson says some of these mechanisms already exist in schools.
The suggestion made for conflict resolution centers within our schools, the guidance counselors, the deans of disciplines, they are already doing this. Of course, what we want is additional manpower to assist in the process. So, of course, the implementation or the deployment of conflict resolution specialists in our schools, this is something that our schools would welcome to assist or complement what is already being done.
Mr. Johnson says the current student-to-guidance counselor ratio in schools is 500 to 1. According to him, this is untenable.
There has to be that comprehensive review of the ratio of guidance counselors to students, and we are recommending anywhere between 250 to 300 students to a guidance counselor. Indeed, there is the need for additional guidance counselors within our schools. The issue, as you said, many of these incidents play out at school or in the vicinity, but it doesn't necessarily have its genesis at school. The community is the home, and that's where we all need to target.
Mr. Johnson notes that schools are required to report incidents of violence to the Ministry of Education on a monthly basis. He says this data could be used to develop a more targeted approach to violence in schools.
If we are analyzing the data from these logs, then we will see from a school the number of fights that took place within a month, where these fights took place, amongst whom or the students were involved, whether male or female. It tells the communities that these students come from. So this information is collated at the school. We now need to use this information to ensure as best as possible we target the interventions required.
Abigail Bartley for Nationwide News.
Joining us now, two PTA presidents to discuss the level of violence we're seeing in our schools. PTA president for Irwin High, and she's also an associate and a consulting psychologist, Rosette James Smith, and president of the Calabar Parent Teachers Association, Kenneth Lawrence. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Morning.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. To you first, Mrs. James Smith, over there at Irwin, where you had that unfortunate fatal incident. How are the students coping? What are you hearing from the parents?
Well, we are grateful for the support we have been receiving from the Ministry of Education and other support systems that have been put in place. The students have been getting a lot of help. The board has instituted and met with teachers and students, and persons have been coming in, different pastors, different counselors from the trauma team from the ministry to support the students. The counselors there have also been providing support to individual students who need it, and we have been looking at other ways to serve our students and the school better as a PTA. Our students, some of them are still fearful. There are some who took a while to return to school because they were fearful, and fear was also strong among the parents. But the intervention measures that have been put in have been supporting and helping persons to cope. And we are now doing, as a PTA, 7 nights of prayer, which persons have been joining from different parts of the island and even in the U.S., just to support our school and stand in the gap, not just for our school, but for schools all across the island.
And how involved are the parents at Irwin? Do you have issues getting your parents to attend the PTA meetings? How involved are the parents at Irwin?
At Irwin, we face the same situation as other schools, where you have a small percentage of parents that will come out to the general PTA meetings when they are held. But when grade meetings are called, they turn out much more. There are some that will never turn up, but parents turn out to the grade meetings much more than the general PTA meetings. So what the PTA does is we work with the school to make sure the parents are served from all areas. So we meet them where they are. And we have been having some of our meetings online, which allows much more parents to join. When we had the incident at the school on Sunday, we had an online session and our Zoom platform could only hold 300, and we had a lot of parents who weren't able to come online.
Mm-hmm. Kenneth Lawrence, where Calabar's PTA is concerned, is there a condition where each student enrolled at Calabar must bring a parent or guardian to the school at least once over the course of the school year?
Well, good morning, and I want to firstly, to my Irwin counterpart, our prayers are with you and the parents, all the parents involved in the situation, and we are very guided by what has happened at Irwin, to look at our situation at Calabar, and it is not something that is, synonymous with just Calabar. It's all the schools are having these issues based on my follow-up with different PTAs. As it relates to Calabar, at some point in time, yes. But the same situation exists as indicated, that a lot of the parents, you see a larger number of grade 7 parents who interact with the school, and then as it gets up into the grades by grade 11, some of the parents don't even turn up. And that is something that, it's a societal thing that we have to address. They have said it's a village that raised a child. We all grew up hearing that, and the village seems to be waning significantly. I know Calabar has various parent-teacher consultations, which happens at specific times of the year for the parents to come in and interact with the school, with the teachers. And, in a lot of instances, that is probably the best turnout that we do get. The PTA has been doing its best to try and inform the parents, educate the parents on the importance of getting involved. There are some major challenges, communication, and as such, without information, the parents just lose interest, and we are trying to bolster that from our side at Calabar.
At Calabar again, and I hope you have you've seen the data, but is it that the bulk of the serious disciplinary issues are caused by boys in the lower school, say for instance grade 7 to 9, or those in the upper school from grade 10 up to upper 6?
Well, I will say to you that in regard to the data, the school doesn't share that data. But I will say to you, in our interaction as a PTA, and as early as last year about this time, we started to see some trends. And we realized that, especially at Calabar, lower school is gravely affected by violence of different types, bullying, theft, and so forth. Unfortunately, the numbers aren't shown, and persons don't want everybody to know what's going on. And this is probably why we've been in this position for too long. More schools need to speak up, and that the parents understand what's really going on the plan.
Yeah.
We recognized, especially last year, when we were able to interact with the boys at the school. The PTA used to meet in the mornings, and we used to, greet the boys saying, good morning, how's your day going, just to get a feel and talk to the boys and interact with some parents. And at that time, we were allowed to be in the school. And one day we were working with the Dean of Discipline, and we found out, there are probably about 60 boys, 70 boys that were stopped one morning who were late, truancy, not properly attired in the uniform, and so forth. Most of them were like grade 8, grade 9. Mm-hmm. And we really recognized that, COVID babies. So we spoke to the school administration to say, listen, come September, you need to put something specific in place for your grade 9 because you're going to have problems.
Yes.
Right? We've spoken, we've tried our best to talk to the administration. Let me tell you something. Everything starts from the home. But before we get to say it starts from the home, if the home is broken down, there's a lot of single parent household, grandmas who trying to grow these boys as the kids are, parents are all over, gone away or something, or father's dead or whatever the case may be. So when the home has deficit, all of what is left is rest now on the school.
Hold it right there, okay? Kenneth Lawrence. Hold it right there. We're gonna pick this up after the break, and I also want to go back to the issue of where at Calabar, in your case, the problem seemed to start from after the break.
Jamaica live good, yeah.
Give up every illegal gun. Call the police at 119 or Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
7:32.
Attention all commuters. Your JUTC fares just got lower. Use your Smarter card today and pay only $50. Yes, only $50. Travel safe and hassle-free with the JUTC using your Smarter card. But wait, there's more. Get 3 free rides with your first Smarter card top-up before May 31. With your Smarter card, paying your fare is easier. Say goodbye to coins and hello to hassle-free travel. Don't miss this opportunity when you travel with the JUTC, your route to excellence. Conditions apply.
Health, Home and Garden Expo in association with HHG Studios returns with excitement to the National Arena. Saturday and Sunday, May 4th and 5th, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. each day. See the fabulous displays, attend health talks, decorating and gardening workshops, do health checks, children and artist villages, shopping, and more shopping. Live entertainment each day. Lots of prizes, surprises, and giveaways. Adults, $1,200. Children, $500. Health, Home and Garden Expo 2024. Don't miss it. Sponsored by Sagicor, JPS, Quartz, Manpower and Maintenance, Lucky Dollar, Course Ready Cash, Sherwin-Williams, Grace, Nationwide 90 FM, and HHG Studios.
Levels of school violence troubling to the nation, and we've invited the PTA president for Irwin High. She's an associate and consulting psychologist, Rosette James Smith, along with the president of the Calabar PTA, Kenneth Lawrence, to give some perspective as to how we can fix. Kenneth Lawrence, you were telling me before the break that based on what you've observed, you say no data has been shared, and this is a part of the problem, but based on what you've observed, the lower school seems to have more serious disciplinary issues than the upper school. And if we can define lower school as between grades 7 and 9 and upper school as from 10 to 6th form, so it's grade 10, grade 11 and grade 12. Is it that the boys in the lower school, that there's bullying from within those ranks, or is it that boys from the upper school are bullying the boys in the lower school?
Well, that was one of the things that was more shocking. The boys are being bullied by their peers. So the lower school, we've seen situations where grade 8 boys are bullying grade 9 boys, and grade 7 boys are bullying grade 8 and grade 9 boys. The set situation is also, networks, and this is not, as I said, many schools, we've spoken to other PTA presidents, the networks, they have cell phone stealing networks in the school and so forth. It is clear that COVID did have some effect, but then we need to stop saying COVID. We need to say, okay, the fix, and where all of it starts from is management. Okay, if you were a director of a company, which would now reflect the board of Calabar or the board of any school, you would have a CEO, which would be the principal, and the manager, and then you have the staff. If there is a problem and you've seen it happening for years upon years and it's not being fixed, at some point in time, everything goes up to the directors. Somebody has to say, okay, listen, we need to put in some measures. I heard what Sir Johnson mentioned about the dispute resolution. That is a key thing. The guidance department at Calabar is swamped. If ever there was a lady who should have a cape, that is Miss Jarrett, or is our guidance counselor. She's loved by the boys, and she has to be dealing with, so I would say, too much. We've worked with the Dean of Discipline one morning, a couple of mornings. I said we used to be in the school, the PTA that is, and we were working with him, to try and talk to the boys and so forth. And one of the PTA execs spent a day with him just to see what is there. I mean, an entire day. And he's involved in law enforcement, and he says that it's unbelievable. He has to be literally trying cases, dealing with so many things. He can't even read an email because of how much interaction. So one Dean of Discipline for 1,700 boys. The challenge is that a lot of the framework, a lot of the schools need to be adjusted. The dispute resolution, we need to interact more with the police, because a lot of the things that are happening at the school is paramount to crimes. Right now, I know of a situation where a boy was arrested because of an assault at a boy at the school. And because the PT at Calabar has said enough is enough. And the school their hands seems to be tied. I don't understand. So the PT have said for the safety of parents, if your child has an issue, report it to the police station. Because what is happening there seems to be a lot of resolution in the school, but then the boys who create the crime, are glorified and they continue doing it. And so you would find that boys who have been caught into situations, they are the same boys next time. I mean, incidents happen and you can identify right away who the boys are. This is all interacting with the school. We say, this is how, it's that boy, it's that boy. I mean, you know who the people are. Mm-hmm. So we need some, expulsion, yes, maybe the last situation that you want to go. So you don't want to send boys out there or children out there. But what are the mitigating plans that are put in place? Demerits don't mean anything much more to boys anymore. Calabar has a situation where the boys wear black and white in case, for who have strong disciplinary issues. So they wear it for a couple of weeks or whatever the case may be. It's not a style. It's not a deterrent. I mean, unfortunately, black and white is the same colors that we graduated, so I don't even know. Probably it was the wrong choice of color. We probably need to put them in all red. But the point is, we have to find transformational things within the schools to make these changes. It is something that is very, very critical.
And those transformational changes, Rosette James Smith, what do you suggest that those could be?
Well, I totally agree with how we started with the fact that more guidance counselors are needed in the schools. The guidance counselors are reaching a point where they are overwhelmed with the number of cases, and when referred to the hospital where they have the child guidance clinic, the cases are seen far apart because of the number of persons that are referred. So a case is referred and is seen 2 weeks if it is an emergency, or 2 months if it is not seen as an emergency. And the cases are like a month or two apart. So the help is not really received for the parents as much. And not a lot of parents are able to pay for private help when they are referred to psychologists, because the guidance counselor sees that this is a case that is more than a guidance counselor should be dealing with based on their level of competency. So a lot more resources are needed.
And the personnel doesn't seem to be there, Mrs. James Smith.
That's it. I think there are only 2 social workers to work with the region in Region 4, and I believe it is the same across the island. And that gives an idea of what is happening, how much intervention can 2 social workers do for so many schools. In our region has 3 parishes. It is ridiculous.
Why not, Mrs. James Smith, Kenneth Lawrence, since given the deficits, and it's not guidance counselors have been short, or deans of discipline have been short in our secondary schools, especially where the main problems occur. Why is it that PTAs don't say, okay, we're offering up a few members to form a quasi-tribunal, then a 3 or 5 member? We're going to offer ourselves to help resolve some of the disputes that the guidance counselors would usually, or the dean of discipline would usually have to handle over a school term. And of course, the final decision rests with the school board or the school leadership, whatever the tier and the reporting structure is. But to help to solve some of those cases, to resolve some of those disciplinary issues, a panel of parents offers their services to hear matters, to seek to resolve matters, to make a recommendation. They don't have the power to recommend expulsion, because next thing you hear is you recommend to expel people, picnic, and then that's another problem. But other measures apart from expulsion to resolve the dispute, to ease some of the burden. What say you on that, Kenneth Lawrence? And then I'll ask Mrs. James Smith for her perspective.
Well, it is surprising that you mentioned that. Let me start with this. The PTA at Calabar, we started last year, about May last year, trying to work with the Dean of Discipline. We worked with the then Principal, Mr. Karcher, and we started to interact with and trying to in a semi-quasi way set up something to that effect. And we were offering ourselves to say, listen, let us help. We can, how can we help you in the morning? So we had parents who were willing to come in the morning to, help to streamline. So the simplest things can be taken away from the school and the more harsher activities. That, from September, the school, we were asked. So that was a challenge for the school. The school had a challenge with that. So I don't know,
what kind of challenge? But that don't make sense.
Let me just say this. You can't help somebody. You can't offer help to somebody if they don't take it. Then it won't work. Okay. So, but one of the things also is that if you look at Calabar, we have a mentorship program.
Yes.
It's a strong mentorship program, and currently the mentors, they have been talking to the school for months, for years about issues because they want it to be more impactful. And I think, and a lot of mentorship starts at the lower school specifically.
And if you extend mentorship in the area that we have that I've suggested and that you said you've done, then that would make sense. Mrs. James Smith, what say you on that approach?
I totally agree, and I can say that at Irwin, the parents, we are now working together to form what we are calling and about to launch a Parents Action and Support Squad, where as parents we put together resources, persons. We have social workers. I'm there as psychologists, and we have other persons in the parent body who are able to help, who are able to say, listen, we are here and we are willing to offer our services free of cost to the school. So we want to be a more active part of the intervention. We want to be there not just for our children, but for other children who need help, parents who are not able to afford private help. And more parents have been coming on board. We are also looking at forming a club for persons, for children who feel that they are being bullied, to look at how, as children, they can deal with being bullied, how they respond, how they report.
And can I get a commitment that you'll put these on the agenda at the next PTA meeting at Irwin?
They are already on our agenda for May 1.
A final one from me for both of you as well. How is it that you'll get more of your parents to attend your Parent-Teachers Association meetings throughout the year? To you first, Kenneth, and then Mrs. James.
All right. Well, one of the first things that we need to do is we need to weather a storm that we currently have been dealing with for the last couple of years at Calabar. We don't have access to all the parents. And that is something that we have to try and work with the school, again, to see how we can get access to all the parents so we can communicate to all the parents. We have to try. We have a plan to launch a Calabar app, but it cannot be launched without the school administration getting involved and signing off. And those are some of the things that, red tape, if you want to call it. You can't help if someone doesn't want to accept the help. What we want to do is we need transfer. A lot of schools have started to fix the problems, and some haven't. And all of it starts from management leadership. We have to get that kind of changes, those changes at Calabar, and start getting them implemented now, okay? Because one of the challenges that we are having is that a lot of what is out there is just a small percentage of what's really happening. If I were to start talking now on this program this morning, we'll be talking till 5 o'clock this evening, and you'll be hearing that I'm washing Calabar's dirty laundry out in public. Because one of the issues is that we have kept silent. Schools have kept silent. Parents have kept silent too long because they're having problems. Parents are having problems dealing with the boys, and they don't say anything. The boys come into the school, they're having problems, and it's not addressed in the way that it should be addressed. And then if they leave school barely functionable, and then we have the challenges out there in society. It's a village. The Calabar Old Boys Association, they are actively trying to help the school. The PTA. But if all of us don't come at the table and say, okay, listen, we're going to fix the school, but it has to start with being honest.
Yeah,
we have to be honest at what's really happening and stop going around corners and having these pretty words.
Yeah, I agree on that one. And giving the final word to you, Mrs. James Smith, getting more of your parents to attend these PTA meetings and getting involved in fixing the problem.
The important thing here is to go where the parents are and where they will go. So what we have realized is that when the school calls them in for a meeting to deal with. For example, for the grade 11, they're preparing for CSEC, or there is a meeting for community service. The parents turn out because they do not want their child to be left behind. And so what we have been doing is putting the PTA meetings to coincide with those meetings. Since the parents are there, then we go there. And so we work with the school. And we also are trying to do training so that the parents know that the meetings are valuable. So to encourage parents, listen to your children. The teacher has 45. When your child comes home, take time to listen. Don't start to blame. Listen and encourage the child. Discourage name calling. If you hear your child come home and say, oh, there is a fatty in my class, discourage it. Don't encourage it. And help the students to know that they can trust the teachers. Don't talk about the teachers in a negative way so that they feel like they cannot speak to them. Encourage them to go to your teacher, go to your guidance counselor, go and talk to your dean of discipline when there is a matter. If you go to one person and the person you don't feel comfortable, go to somebody else. Don't just stop there and say nobody cares. Yeah. And as parents, we need to be role models. Very important. How we settle conflicts reflects highly on how our children settle conflicts. So we need to set the example.
Have to leave it there. Rosette James Smith, who is the PTA president for Irwin High, an associate and consulting psychologist, and president of the Calabar PTA, Kenneth Lawrence. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you
for having us.
Going to take a break and come back with more.
Listen up, motorists. Speeding burns more gas. So slow down. The life you save may be your own and also that of your loved ones. Slow down. Save lives and money. The time by the Insurance Association of Jamaica is
7:49.
At Hawkeye, our mission is to deliver cutting-edge security solutions to help you keep track of the things you value most.
The temperature by Hawkeye is
29 degrees Celsius in both Kingston and Montego Bay.
The National Solid Waste Management Authority's mobile application was launched on June 5, 2020 to facilitate digital reports of littering in public spaces and illegal dumping. Since then, there have been more than 2,000 app downloads and more than 1,500 reports. Mikhail Graham, a teacher by profession, shares his experience with the app.
I believe that majority of individuals can use it regardless of age or limited knowledge of internet or technology. It was quite easy to navigate as you had the different options for you to fill in your name, email address, number, and a part for you to include what the status was like. And out of 10, generally, it would be like a 9 out of 10 in terms of user-friendly.
You can download the NSWMA app by visiting the Google Play Store or the iOS Apple Store and typing in NSWMA. A message brought to you by the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Accelerate your career with the right ally. Mona School of Business and Management. Explore our suite of highly ranked, specialized, globally competitive graduate degrees, including our internationally accredited MBA program. At MSBM, we nurture critical thinkers and innovative leaders, placing our graduates in a league of their own. Join the community of trailblazers making an impact at home and abroad. Apply online today. Global knowledge, regional solutions.
7:52 on the clock. A recent poll published by the Gleaner newspaper, actually in today's Gleaner, the Tuesday Gleaner, commissioned by the PNP, shows that the opposition party has a sizable lead over the ruling JLP. That poll was conducted by Don Anderson's Market Research Services Limited between April 4 and 12 among persons over age 17.
It canvassed the views over the age of 18. It canvassed the views of 1,057 respondents and has a margin of error of plus or minus 3%. It shows that if a general election were to be called shortly, the PNP would get the support of 36.8% of respondents. The JLP would get the support of 29% of respondents. Those numbers give the PNP a clear lead, 7.8 percentage points, well outside the margin of error.
According to the poll, 19.1% of respondents say they are undecided. Another 15% say they will not vote. Don Anderson says the PNP continues to enjoy strong support from older persons and that the PNP and JLP are even when it comes to support in the 18 to 24 age group. That's significant because usually they say the younger voters prefer the JLP. Don Anderson says the polls show not so, and he also notes that support for the PNP across both genders is stronger than the JLP, noting that 44% of respondents say they would vote for the PNP because the party looks after the poor. The PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell joins us this morning. Good morning, Dr. Campbell.
Hi, good morning, and good morning to your listeners.
All right. So these poll findings in line with what the PNP expected when it asked the researcher to go in the field?
Well, we continue to be guided by the data. So we have been doing serial polling, as you're aware, and we don't necessarily predict what is there. We suspected that there would be an increase in the lead that we've had since last year, February. But coming out of the local government elections, we assume that the lead would have expanded. We note it. We're happy that we do have a lead, but we're not satisfied. So we continue to put in the work and to execute on the plan that we have.
For the uninitiated, what would account for the lead being so sizable, comfortably outside the margin of error, at a time when the party has drawn breath on its activities, given the intense work that went into the local government campaign? Now that the party has, well, not resting, but as I said, drawing breath, this lead is so big in that period. What accounts for that?
Well, you have to be mindful of something called momentum in politics. And when you're looking at polls, certainly when we're looking at polls, we're not just looking at the immediate poll that we have in front of us, but we're looking at the trend that has developed. And last year when we first released a poll, it was 29.1 to the PNP to 28.9 to the JLP. A few months later, it went to 5 points. Then Gleaner commissioned the poll using the same poll. So it was at 3.4. And then I think a group of businessmen in December did another one. It was at 3. So we figured that coming out of that intense period of campaigning and the credible performance of the party, where we won the popular vote nationally and we won more divisions than the governing party, that would have said to some of our supporters and others that, this is a real thing. Because the election is the most accurate poll you can get. And having come out of that winning more divisions and winning the popular vote, we felt that more of our supporters would be like, well, maybe this is for real. So I think that is what is showing here, that the momentum is gathering. We used it as well to see a check coming out of the budget debate. Wanted to get a check to see where we are, so we can chart our course forward. Over the next couple of months, we'll be having our divisional conferences. I mean, I'm speaking at one on Saturday and another one on Sunday. So we'll have our divisional conferences, which flows into our constituency conferences. So on the leader is back on the road. So we continue to do what we need to do. There are some variables that are within our control. And those are the things that we have to focus on.
Dr. Campbell, I want to play a clip for you. A former PNP politician, Venetia Phillips, she spoke, reacted to the polls this morning, dismissed it. Going to play a clip for you of what she said in reaction to the findings and have you respond.
But look at the stupidity of this particular poll. It is coming when they need a distraction from the fact that what? The 1st of April came in when the salary adjustments, the second part, would have taken effect. So it is coming in to coincide with the month-end payments. Teachers are feeling a little bit better. Public servants generally, those who have seen a movement in their salaries, they're in a kind of a different mood and mode. You see it all across social media, even from some known comrades, you know. And so what they want to do is detract from that.
She says these polls, she's been there, she's seen it, is a time-worn strategy used by the PNP, and this one in particular is intended to blunt the impact of the budget measures announced by the Andrew Holness-led government. What do you make of what her reaction has been to the poll findings?
I took your interview to have a serious discussion, not a trivial one, with somebody who's trying to resurrect what is a dead political career. So I won't say anything further on that.
But she's calling you out. She has put it out there that she's been there. She's seen polls. She was a member of the PNP. She's seen how polls have been used and is calling it. She's saying that it's a strategy that she has seen. Don't you think you should respond to something like that? She's put that out there in the public, you know, to say that polls that have been done by the PNP has always been some sort of strategy. And this one in particular, she's saying that it was used at this time as a strategy to blunt the impact as a distraction as well from the measures announced by the Andrew Holness-led government.
I repeat the point that I made earlier. I took your interview to have a serious conversation, not about somebody whose political career had come to an end in the PNP, who was not going to be a candidate, went across to the JLP, lost and is now in the political wilderness, and is seeking relevance. That's not what I took this call to have a conversation about. We asked a reputable pollster in Dan Anderson, who runs market research, to conduct a poll. His methodology has been tested and proven over the years. In relation to the local government election in both December and February, he called it that it was a statistical dead heat. I believe he has been accurate in more polls than the ones that he has been inaccurate in. We continue to undergo that process. I am not aware of anything that Ms. Phillips is speaking about, and nor do I intend to have a conversation about it.
The issue of the leadership standings, are we to anticipate that those findings are also part of the poll that you commissioned and that we should expect those results when Sunday?
No, man, those were released already. The favorability of the leaders, Holness favorability is at 40, and the current leader, Mark Holness, is at 37. Holness' unfavorability is at 31, and the current leader's unfavorability is at 18.
I was looking for the direct question as to who would you vote for prime minister. Who would you vote for if you could select the prime minister directly? He didn't ask the question that way.
No, we don't ask that because that's a theoretical question. We do not vote for prime minister like that.
That's what I was pushing for. Lastly, before we go, Dr. Campbell, the work to make Mark Golding, I don't want to say presentable or palatable, but to fashion for him an image as a serious political animal, given what he was before. People gave him kudos for his work in governance and being a minister of justice and a member of the Senate and a person who came with solid ideas. But in terms of a politician, that took some work. Is that work complete?
No, we never ever stop our work in the middle of the game. We run right through to the tape. So that is an ongoing process to present the leader to the country so that they can be aware of who he is, what he stands for, his views on things, and what he's bringing to leadership. You must look as well at his performance. Again, I say that an election is the most accurate poll you can get. Prime Minister Holness has led the JLP into 3 local government elections in 2012, 2016, and 2024. The party under Holness polled 247 votes in 2012, 287 in 2016, and 289 in 2024. Mark Golden has led the PNP to one local government election, and coming out of that, the PNP polled 311,000 votes, which is more than we polled in the general election of 2020, where we polled 306,000. I think those who want to continue to have that discussion, they're having it to their own peril. Mark Golden has arrived on the big platform. He has proven himself in the local government election, and I'm happy if people continue to underestimate it. But Mark Golden is no fluke. He's here and is a real deal.
Hear you on that. Thank you this morning, Dr. Campbell.
You're most welcome.
Dr. Dayton Campbell, PNP General Secretary. After the break, across Jamaica. Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales. For a better choice in the electrical business.
Clearing personal non-commercial shipments at the port? Avoid the wait. Request a contactless clearance through your agent today. It's more efficient. It's secure. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
3 minutes after 8.
From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside, it's across Jamaica this morning.
Taking you across Jamaica this Tuesday morning, I'm Tona Thomas. The Kingston East Police have listed 7 men as wanted for several crimes committed in the division. Heading the list is Kevin Cole, otherwise called Marshall Kedman or Kevman of St. George's Road and Glasspool Avenue in Rockford, Kingston 2. Cole is wanted for 2 counts of murder. Wanted for 3 counts of murder is Kiman Foreman, otherwise called Kimmy and Nicely. Foreman is also wanted for assault at common law and illegal possession of ammunition. Stephen Myers, otherwise called Evil Boss, is also wanted for murder and shooting with intent. Myers and Mark Beckford, who is also wanted for murder, are set to frequent Corner 1 Lane in Rockford, Kingston 2. Also on the list are J. Jackson, otherwise called Chinaman or Chinaman, and Twain McPherson, Richard Higgins, otherwise called Bob and Gringo. They're wanted for crimes ranging from malicious destruction of property, possession of a prohibited weapon, wounding with intent, and shooting with intent. Detectives assigned to the Kingston East Police are urging these 7 men to immediately turn themselves into the Ellison Road Police. Members of the public are also reminded that it is a criminal offense to harbor a fugitive. Investigators are encouraging persons to continue to share information to aid in their investigations by calling the Ellison Road CIB at 876-928-4200, Crime Stop at 311, the NIB tip line at 811, the Police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. An undetermined amount of cocaine was seized by the narcotics police on the wharf last week. The drugs were found during a security screening of 2 shipments at the port. Reports say on Friday, April 26, at around 12 p.m., the drugs were discovered in a package which appeared to contain utensils. But on closer inspection, an undetermined amount of cocaine was found concealed in a cutting board. No one was arrested in connection with the seizure. The Heart NSTA Trust says it achieved several significant accomplishments over the fiscal year, which ended on March 31. Managing Director Dr. Tanisha Ingleton says the entity has undergone a transformative merger with the National Youth Service, the Jamaican Foundation for Lifelong Learning, and the Apprenticeship Board. The merger, she says, has paved the way for the comprehensive repackaging of an enhanced and more streamlined suite of programs, products and services aimed at empowering Jamaica's youth. She told the JIS that the trust exceeded expectations, enrolling 137,411, almost 10,000 more than targeted. Heart certified 50,627 individuals, over 1,600 more than targeted. Dr. Ingleton says that through the work of Heart, over 10,000 young people were able to secure viable employment in the last fiscal year. That's it for Across Jamaica for this Tuesday morning. I'm Tawna Thomas.
Start your fitness goals with Express Fitness. Sign up today and restart your fitness journey at an Express Fitness location near you. Enjoy safe, comfortable, and well-equipped gyms from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. Call 554-5180 for a full listing of our open locations. Express Fitness. Express Fitness. Your goal, our mission.
Watch for Shelley Fraser Price. I stay locked to the Olympics because, of course, I'm Jamaican. What you mean? Me, I have to tune into the Olympics, man. Because I'm always busy, but what? I have to know when Sherika Jackson beat Shakari.
Brother, I have to have every notification for the Olympics. I want to hear every run.
Now Sherika Jackson coming
every jump.
Oh, that is absolutely huge of Wayne Pinkham.
Every fling, live.
So, take us then.
Nothing can miss me.
We're always on the move.
So while we're driving, run, Elaine, run.
Jogging. Yes. Run, Watson. Win again.
Watson is now a world champion. Or even at work.
Quick. The race has started.
We can't miss a beat because we keep it locked
to the only station
for the Paris Olympics.
Nationwide.
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 90 FM.
Nationwide 90.1, 90.3, 90.5, 90.7 and 90.9 and on YouTube at Nationwide 90 FM Live. Nationwide, the new revolution in media.
Nationwide 90 FM is an affordable medium to advertise your business. Increase your sales with Nationwide's reasonably priced advertising packages customized to suit your pocket. Contact our sales department today at 630-1210 or 630-1216. That's 630-1210 or 630-1216. Nationwide 90 FM. Smart advertising, value for your money. News on the go. The latest stories from Jamaica and around the world are literally a finger tap away. Keep up to date with Teen Revolution 24 hours a day online via nationwideradiojm.com. Listen live, read the latest stories, hear every soundbite. Be a part of the vibrant online debate via Facebook and Twitter. Now you can get all your favorite premium Nationwide content at your convenience. Visit the Android Play Store and download it for free today. NationwideRadioJM.com. All day, every day. Team Revolution.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. Taking your calls now. The numbers 630-937-124, 630-937-124, and 618-8255. I know some of you are reacting to the clip played and asking for the General Secretary's response to what Venetia Phillips said about the poll. Yeah, it was fair to ask. Yeah, she's based on the clips that we had in the newscast and what she has said. It's almost as if she's, pouring cold water on the poll and its findings and questioning, the credibility of it or the motive behind why the PNP would be conducting its poll. So it was important to ask the General Secretary what he made of that. She has put that out in the public domain, her reaction to the findings and what she believes motivated the PNP conducting a poll at this time, commissioning a poll at this time. Yeah, I thought it important to hear from the General Secretary as well. What do you make of what she's saying? Of course, you heard from him there, dismissing it too. Yeah, not giving any credence to what has been said by the former PNP member, who is now a member of the JLP. Yeah, so moving on from that though, taking your calls this morning, engaging with you on the matters of the day or any other issues that you want to engage us on. The first caller of the morning is Charmaine. Good morning to you. Charmaine?
Hello, morning.
Good morning to you, Charmaine. Are you hearing me, Charmaine?
Not too bad.
Okay, you're hearing me. What's on your mind?
Pardon me?
What's on your mind?
Oh, is this Tana?
Yes, it is.
Is this Tana or George?
No, man, this is this is Tana.
Oh, this is Tana. I'd like to speak with George, please.
George.
Can I go ahead, Siri?
Yeah, man, you can go right ahead.
Okay.
George has
Morning,
just
George.
stepped in. Yes, man, he's listening to you.
He's listening to, but no, you're.
Morning, Charmaine, morning.
Oh, morning. Okay, George, you know what I want to say to you, please? This is not about no politics, nothing or nothing.
Yes.
You see the Tuesday night show that Dr. Andre McDonald comes
Yes.
on with.
Yes.
I enjoy it a lot.
Yes.
But you know what I would like to say to you?
Yes.
If you could have one rebroadcast like this week and the other week, you have a live show. Sometimes people want to call in and ask or say something, and because it's just pure rebroadcast.
No, man, hold on, no, Charmaine. We do enough live show, but here's the thing. Remember, a doctor is a doctor, he's a real doctor, he's not paper doctor. So, there have been several occasions in Charmaine where Doc has been on his way here. I didn't have to divert because somebody mother fell down or something happened and him have to run. Or he's called overseas because he have to work. Doc is also an army man, so he also has to spend some time with the JDF. Yeah, so I've been here several evenings and doctor has been called away, but he mean the parking lot already, driving the parking lot and have to turn out. So that's what happens sometimes.
Okay,
Yeah, man.
and the last thing, one time you spoke about you'd like people to call in and request which topic they would like to hear, and I request thyroid, and from last year.
But we talked about thyroid already, Charmaine. You missed the program.
Pardon?
We talked about thyroid already,
No, but you did say who want to hear back a reap. I hear it back again another week, and
all
I
right.
every week, and I don't hear.
I'm going to line it up for you. Fret
because
not.
I'm really interested in that one.
Yeah, man, no problem.
Okay.
All right,
Thanks
Charmaine.
very much.
You're welcome, Mom.
All right.
Yeah, man. Morning, Fergie.
Yes, morning, John and George.
Hey, to you.
There's two things quickly. The students, right? We saw signs of deterioration of behavior in children quite a few years ago. Remember, former education minister had to apologize for referring to the behavior as Lego beast.
Yes.
It is coming from that time. And because most of the parents are foreign-minded and they're gone, leaving the children unattended, and a lot of problems. There are a lot of social things they need to look into. The other thing I think is that if the school and the parents cannot control the children, then you must have a reformed school, because you can't control them, Okay, Venetia Phillips is a young lady that I admire a lot. She has a lot of potential. She's very good. Very good to have in any party. But I think she must be getting the JLP a little nervous here now, because certain things, if you're a member of an organization, when you leave, you can't be so, bitter. She needs to calm.
So you got bitter from the comments she made that we played in the news?
Well, I don't know if it's not bitter. I don't know what you'd call it.
No, but may I reason you said bitter, so may I say, well, are you sticking by that, or you want to soften it?
Maybe soften, maybe not bitter, but I think if you're a part of an organization and you have to leave for whatever reason, I don't think you should really, burn the bridges and try to be so, aggressive towards them, because the new organization must start to wonder if, boy, what they would do to me if I leave this organization,
Well, if you look at it another way, Fergie, she says that, look, I was a part of the beast, I was in the belly, and I know the playbook. And she's saying, Jamaica, I'm telling you with sincerity, based on my past experience, that this is a page out of the playbook. Now, I interpret that as something that is worthy of at least consideration, and I'm not willing to view it as a bitter attempt to throw stones at the team that you once supported.
Yes, well, I would say bitter, but I mean, but there's a certain amount of non-disclosure. If you're working with a company before.
There was only one thing wrong with that, though, because remember now, this is not private business. It's not as if she was working with, say, one telecoms provider and then she speaks things about how that telecoms provider used to do business when she's working with a rival telecoms provider. She's talking about a matter that conditions public sentiment. And remember now, we have a highly respected and successful pollster at the heart of this, and she's telling us that based on her experience, notwithstanding the record of the pollster, we should be mindful that these poll findings are a part of a political engineering attempt. So I'm saying I don't see anything bitter with that, and I'm saying that she's also giving us the benefit of her inside knowledge. If you want to take that, it's fine, but I'm just saying that I don't see it as being anything wrong for her to do or say.
Well, I only say maybe bitter is a little too strong, but still, I mean, there must be a certain amount of non-disclosure.
You sound like an experienced man, Fergie. You remember that famous speech where Carlson would have spoke about the lackeys and yes men in the JLP?
No, man, I know about Carlson.
Exactly. So I'm saying that he was part of the belly of the beast, and he came and told us that the people around Edward Siaga then were lackeys and yes men. Yes,
but I'm saying that should be a lesson to her.
No, but he went on to win his seat. He went on to win his. I'm just saying.
In case you have to go back, it should be a lesson that you don't burn.
Well, I can take that part of it. I can take that part of it. So in case you have to return.
Yes.
Yeah. I hear you, sir. I hear you, Fergie.
Right. So that's an advice because I admire as a good thing. But again, they say politics is not church work. So have a good day.
All right, Fergie. Thank you. Politics is not church work. I like that. I never heard that one, dude.
I've never heard that one either. Anthony, good morning.
Good morning, George and Tana. How are you guys doing?
Morning, Tony. Good man.
All right. So, George, here's my thing. I love data. All right. And with that said, I am still always suspicious of polls. And if there's one thing Venetia said that I will agree with, people can pay for what they want. And this is not a discreditation to Mr. Don and stuff. However, as somebody who supports the JLP, my advice is simple. The PNP is doing what they need to do. The JLP need to do what they need to do. And that is where our focus should be. Our focus right now should be getting out there, getting back with our base, get our base energized and whatever, because the PNP is strategic. Look when they choose to do a poll. They choose to do a poll right after the local government election, when they had some momentum and whatever and all of that. Everybody know that based on the coverage of the local government election. Of course, you might get some figures, and depending on where the poll is done, it can be skewed. Maybe not deliberately, but it can be skewed and stuff. So I wouldn't get any jitters about that right about now. All I'm saying is, my JLP friends, let us do what we need to do.
You know what I'd say to you, Tony? You know what I'd say to you? I was saying this off air before I came in for the call-in segment. The issue I have with some of the JLP frontline people is that men and women behave like them rich. As a politician, it is a fatal error to behave like you're rich.
George, you hit the nail straight on the head, and I could call many names, George. You have some people before they become MPs and ministers and whatever. The people who were there with them in the gutter, not even a phone call them not take from them anymore.
Well, I tell you what,
You understand what I say?
Yes.
It's simple. And that's what I'm saying, that the PNP is doing what they need to do. We, and I said we, because he's a labor, no apology about that.
Yes.
We need to do what we need to do to get the what we need to get. And it's simple.
I hear you.
That's all I have to say.
I hear you, sir. Thank you. Thank you this morning. The other thing, Tona, is that people are saying, Venetia shouldn't be talking. But you should be. Because it happens every day in every industry, in every field. One company hires somebody who was with the rival, and they say, well, this is how we reached customers when I was on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
In sport, it happens every day. This is how you bowl to so-and-so. This is how you play so-and-so bowler. I mean, when the West Indies were dominating world cricket, they played in English county cricket against the best of the Englishmen. The Windies had the Englishmen like toys. And the fact of the matter is, when you are with a new entity, and if they hired you from your direct rival, they are depending on you to give them some insights into how the rival did the things that they did best. How did they do it? What did they do? How can we adapt our approach to reap the same rewards? So it's a no-brainer. It's 1, 2, 3. It's as basic as that. So I don't know why some people chewing up themselves in the comment section about what the lady said. It is up to you to say whether or not you want to believe, and remember, as you try to evaluate where truth lies, the poll was done by a polling entity that is highly credible. That's all I'll say. Market Research Services Limited and Don Anderson and boy play poll. Yeah, the record speaks for itself. So against that, and Miss Phillips says she's from the belly of the beast. We know she was, and she says, listen, be careful, then make up your mind.
For you to make of that what you will. Who's next? Marlon. Good morning.
Good morning.
Turn down your radio, Marlon. See you have on your radio. Go ahead, though. What's in your mind?
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, my name is Marlon. I just want to just highlight some of the things that Ms. Phillips said. I do believe her in a lot of the things that she said. And, people need to understand this. If you are hired by a certain company to do something for you, the company will not, the person who is hired will not talk against you. They will talk in favor of you. And that's what Mr. Anderson is doing. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with the poll. I understand what Mr. Anderson is doing. But it is for us as well, thinking Jamaicans should sit down and look and see who governs the country better. Is it the PMP or the JLP? It's very simple. For example, Mr. Anderson can go into areas where it is highly in favor of the PMP to do his poll. Of course, the PMP is going to come out on top. It depends on where he went to commission his poll. I would never, ever voted for the PMP based on performance. And I vote for both parties. I vote for the PMP and I vote for the GLP.
Mm-hmm.
What the Andrew and Holness government has done in the last 7 years, the PMP could not do it in 22 and a half.
Yeah.
Well, people need to understand this, that the PMP, all of my people, 90% of my family is PMP. I grew up in a PMP constituency. I grew up in a PMP division. So I understand how PMP operates. For example, we have a local government election the other day, and the PMP is saying that they won the local government election. How can you explain to me how you won the local government election? Of course, you won most of the division. We understand that. You win most of the division. But I blame the Prime Minister for what happened, and I'm going to explain to you the reason why I blame the Prime Minister. The mayor of Portmore, the there should be no mayor of Portmore until Portmore becomes a parish. That is totally irrelevant.
Until it becomes a parish?
Until it becomes a parish. But thank you for your correction. The mayor in Portmore is doing absolutely nothing.
But hold on, man. The numbers don't back you up, Marlon, because every time the Portmore residents who vote give the PNP a resounding mandate division by division, it's not even close.
Exactly. It's normally St. Catherine that carries.
Yeah, man. Portmore, based on Portmore's voting pattern over time, since it became, it achieved municipality status in 2003, the PNP have done an excellent job in Portmore, because that's what the voters tell us. Because every election, Portmore, well, the local government election, Portmore goes the PNP, and it goes the PNP decisively.
Are you referring to if they had split up the two already? Then you'd have the JLP winning the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation and the PNP winning the Portmore Municipal Corporation. Is that the argument you're trying to make?
Judge, what I'm saying, yes, in some way, yes. But what I'm saying, people need to understand that when Portmore was developed, most of the people that they moved to Portmore are from PNP areas.
You are onto something there about the way that the communities were designed and set up. So you are not wrong on that point. Yeah?
Definitely. And one more thing I want to point out to you, Mr. Judge. Mr. Leon Thomas has been there for almost 10 years, right?
He completed George Lee's term and he got his own.
Right, and then his term, I think, 5 years or 8 years.
No, the last election before the one on February 26 was in 2016, and then before that 2012.
So how long he has been there now? 7 years?
Yeah, I think it's about 7, because George Lee's death, the date escapes me, but it's not 10 years. I don't think it's 10 years.
Yeah, and I can point out to you that Mr. Leon Thomas has done absolutely nothing for Portmore.
Well, guess what? Hold on, no? Here's the thing, now. If you say that and you seem convicted, you speak that with conviction. Why is it that the people in Portmore, the overwhelming majority who choose not to vote, why don't they go there and vote in another mayor? That's a question I always ask,
You know, that is a problem that we have with Jamaica. Most of our people, because of generation upon generation, has been doing the same thing. We, the younger generation, don't sit down and think and say, listen, my grandmother, my grandfather...
I said this last thing to you, man, because we have to run. Jamaicans, and I don't know if it's unique to Jamaicans, Jamaicans have a habit. You see, when they're okay, they don't vote. Jamaicans will vote if they feel that things are so bad that, boy, they must try to get somebody or get in a party who can do better for them or help them to do better, so they vote. But if Jamaicans are okay, them no business with politics.
Well, Jad, before you run, I just want to say this. If we want to see Jamaica progress, vote for the JLP.
All right,
if we want to see it regress, vote for the PNP.
I have to run. Thank you this morning. Thank you. Michael, morning. Michael.
Yes, morning.
Yeah, man.
Yes, morning.
Mm-hmm.
You hear me?
Yeah, man, hearing you loud and clear.
Yeah, George. And Tana. George, I'm a new man here. Boy, I decided over a weekend and I said, John, is a match who could have won still,
Should have won.
I don't know what going on. I contemplate if Tenaga is the right man today.
Tenaga has been... Here's the thing. The team has no balance. We have a central midfielder playing at centre half who has never played centre half at the highest level consistently. He hasn't. That's one. You have no relationship on the flank. So the left back, look at the best teams in the world. There's a symbiotic relationship between the fullback and the winger on the opposing side, on the corresponding side. So Vinicius Jr. and if it's Danny Carvajal or Ferland Mendy at Real Madrid, Rodrigo on the other side at Real Madrid, Man City, Kyle Walker, when he plays at right back. So, and all the top teams have this relationship. You can close your eyes and know that the right back or the fullback is going to overlap you. You know when the winger is going to cut in, so you go outside to present the overlapping option. Manchester United don't have that because of the injuries that you've had and the square pegs that he's been forced to put in round holes. Then you have Marcus Rashford, who gets paid almost £400,000 per week, who walks and sulks. Yeah? And then you have a striker, Rasmus Højlund, who the team don't pass to. You saw the stats for the Burnley game? The goalkeeper passed to him more than everybody else on the field.
So,
You say I have a whole heap of problems, brethren. And Tana laugh after it. And Chelsea, she's supposed to know who she laugh after. Anyway.
What she laugh after? She don't attack it so much. Just keep there, man. Chelsea.
You realize I have not said a word.
Yeah, but you're laughing. You should laugh.
Because that was funny.
But separate from that though, me are a young youth, you see me? Young, very young. Recently just follow politics. Since I was listening to you guys over about a year and a half now. This whole thing with this man with the Dan on the support. I'm not quite sure I understand what what's her name? Denisha was saying.
Yes.
Is she saying that the Dan on the support is not credible?
She's saying that at a time like this, the PNP, effectively that's what she's saying. She's saying that because of who paid for the poll, and you can pay for a poll that you then ask the pollster to present a certain set of findings. That's effectively what she's saying. And she's saying that based on her experience in the PNP, she has seen the PNP do this several times before. That's what she's saying.
Did the JLP commissions vote?
Well, the JLP every party commissions polls, but they keep them internal. Sometimes, depending on the credibility of a pollster, a party will publicize the fact that it has asked so and so pollsters to do one for them. For instance, Bill Johnson commissioned many a poll for both political parties, and Don Anderson does a lot of work for the PNP these days. Well, the PNP asked him to do a lot of work for the PNP these days. So the JLP does not have a nationally published opinion poll that it commissions.
So it's just on a regular basis, it's just the PNP that does this?
Usually opposition parties are most active where this kind of polling is concerned.
So shouldn't Don Anderson be the one answering these questions? Since that it is his poll that's being questioned.
Well, you make a fair point, and we put that to him. We'll put that to him for the newscast for the rest of the day.
Yeah, because when I heard it, her comment. First of all, I don't know if it was the last caller before, but I share a sentiment being a bit petty from her side.
Yeah.
Because she was once PNP, she was once PNP, and now she's JLP.
Yeah.
I know all of a sudden she has found the moral will to come out and speak about something that she was once supposed to.
I'll leave you with this because I have to run. When you work with somebody and you go and work with somebody else, you'll take your experiences with you and you'll give them advice to guide. When I went to Sportsmax and Scene TV, it was all of what I learned over the time at Nationwide that I brought there and told them, well, this is how they do this is how they do that, and help them improve. And they did improve by virtue of that advice. So it's what happens in every situation. If you leave Man U and go Everton, where you going to do?
No, sir.
All right. We're gone. Have to run. All right, call me again, Michael. Thank you this morning. All right.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:36.
Eliminate the hassle of managing multiple medications that can be confusing. Thanks to Houghton's Pharmacy. Introducing RX Pack, a mobile app available in the App Store and Google Play Store. RX Pack is specially designed for you to order and manage your medications. Download today for free. That's RX Pack for better medication management. Call 876-RX-0-RX-RX or visit our website, HoughtonsRx.com for more details.
A healthier you is brought to you by Express Fitness, your goal or mission, and Houghton's Pharmacy, a family tradition of dispensing and caring for 100 years.
Back with us on Nationwide this morning, the first quarter of the year behind us. For those who are still on their weight loss journey, you may have hit a plateau You may need to review your diet to continue the journey. But how do you do this? Well, we're joined by dietitian and managing director of Complete Healthcare Solutions, Janet Rankin. Good morning, Janet.
Good morning. How are you?
I am very good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Excellent, excellent. Thankfully, I don't have a weight loss problem. Thankfully, I say, because I know that many people. Yeah. You try to avoid eating late and you try to exercise as much as possible. Although this job is unforgiving, but there are many of my friends who actually do, and it's something that people say, "Boy, I've been trying this for 3 months and I see no result. I'm going to give up." Is it give up or go to the drawing board and get a new plan? What's your advice?
All right. So, a lot of times there are some things that we can do to allow our body to be to reward us by attaining your goal, right? One of the things when persons come into my practice for a consultation, the first thing I do, well, you do the weight and the height and you get the body mass index and stuff. But the most important thing for us to do, or what I do, is to look at the person's basal energy expenditure. There are methods in determining, persons can go on the internet and download the formula, but it essentially tells you what is the least amount of energy that person needs to actually maintain the weight that they have. So once you know what is the least amount of energy the person needs to maintain the weight, you can calculate how much you need to give them a little less for them to lose, right? So you work out first what is the least amount of energy, the lowest amount of calories we can right? So if, say, for example, you would have done your calculation and you would have gotten, say, 1,400, right? And then you look at the person's activity level to say, okay, they are active, they do exercise almost like every day. Some persons come and tell you exercise every day and are not losing any weight. You have to look at their activity level too. Say, for example, you've done the calculation and the activity level comes up to 1,800. And the person is consuming a 2,000 calorie diet. They're not going to lose any weight because their basal to maintain is 1,4. And their activity level is 1.8, and they do exercise maybe one time for the week. It means that the least amount of energy they need to stay is 1.4, and they're actually having 2,000. So there is no way you're going to lose weight. So you have to work with a nutritionist, or you can go online, look at what the BEE means, which is the basal energy expenditure, put in all the information that it asks, and then you will know if the amount of energy you're consuming on a given day is too much, because you always have to put your body in energy deficit, right? I know it sounds complex, but you just have to ensure that what you're consuming on a given day is lower than your basal, meaning lower than the amount you need to stay at the weight that you are. And I find that is the most complicated thing in weight loss.
Why is it complicated? It's complicated because it's hard to calculate, or it's complicated because people don't understand the effectiveness of it?
Because people don't understand the effectiveness of it.
Yes.
Yeah. So some persons opt to say, okay, I am going to skip meals and just have one meal for the day and I must lose weight. You're not going to lose weight like that either. Because if you're skipping meals, you're actually causing your body to hold on to the food. And so it is important for you to know, okay, I need to eat, but what do I eat? I need to eat foods which are lower in calories. So a typical example that can give you a very good result in the morning, say, for example, you would have had maybe a shake. Maybe you do with maybe a teaspoon of like your pumpkin seeds, your sesame seeds, your almonds, your flaxseed. You use like maybe a cup of blueberries with maybe some almond milk or some oat milk or some skim milk. And you put in a little bit of water. You blend that in the morning and you have maybe 2 egg whites. That would have given you protein. It would have given you a staple. If you like oats, you can maybe put a quarter teaspoon or quarter cup of oats in it. Or if you want an alternative to oats, you maybe can use maybe some almond flour.
Yes.
Yeah? and you blend that in the morning and you have that as a shake, that would give you maybe like 230 calories in the morning, right? And then you do a snack. So the important thing for you to have is something in the morning that actually cuts down the fasting time. You know, a lot of persons go on the intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting work because it's heavy, but it's not sustainable.
Yes.
So you have to do something that is sustainable, right? Then at about 10 o'clock, so you eat breakfast between 6 and 8. At 10, you would have had a snack. And a snack can be just a fruit, yeah? 12 to 1, it is important that you have food every 3 hours because your metabolic cycle increases with the increasing number of meals that you have. It's just time, yeah? So about 12 to 1, you have lunch. Lunch can be maybe a piece of fish or it can be a piece of chicken breast. You can do that with maybe a piece of sweet potato with a finger of banana, slice of yam. And you can do that with some vegetables. And you can maybe add a half cup of green peas. At 3 o'clock, you have another fruit, which can be an orange or it can be an apple or it can be a yogurt. And then in the evening, you have something like maybe a salad with maybe a piece of chicken breast or a piece of fish. And that would give you a good 1,200 kilocalories for the day.
Yes.
Yeah?
I want to ask you, Janet, because how many people are in the group of people who do this? They eat, they don't understand still that body conditioning, whether you want to lose weight, gain weight, build muscle, whatever, body conditioning, I call it that, depends as much on diet as it does on exercise. And so, in the morning, them say them have to eat a big breakfast. So they eat stew chicken and 2 dumpling and yam and banana. Lunch, they eat rice and peas and chicken because guess what? I need to eat heavy because I'm going to the gym later to work out and burn it off. And then they get frustrated when they're not seeing the results they need. Is this something that's common among people who are trying to get the right
one? It is very common. Very, very common. And because I think culture has a lot to do with it too. You know, growing up, you hear that you have to eat up and stuff. So we grow up with the notion that you have to have a big breakfast or sometimes a big dinner. But if it is that you really want for it to work,
yes,
you have to look at the science of it. If you're consuming a lot of food and you're doing gym, you're just going to be maybe doing a balance, like a trade-off.
Yes.
You're not going to lose. Yeah, some persons say I lift a lot of weight, so I need to have a lot of food. You have to work it out with your nutritionist. Go and find a nutritionist, work it out to see if it is that I'm lifting so much weight and I'm doing so much, how much will I need to get to the goal that I want? If it is that you're eating a whole heap of food and you're lifting weight, you're just going to do a trade-off. So you have to work it out to ensure that you know what you're doing. There are simple ways on the internet you can use. Sometimes some of them are misleading, so you have to look at what really works. And, try and keep meals. So some of the things that, I've written down, ensure that you're having food from all the food groups. So you don't want to also starve yourself and not eating and getting the vitamins and minerals that you need. So you need to have some persons have the misconception, I cannot have carbs. You can have carbs, but it's your complex carbohydrates that you can have. Just a limited amount, but complex carbs. And you need it for energy, especially if you're exercising as well. You need to eat on time. 6 to 8, 10, 12 to 1, 3, 5 to 7. It works. And it is sustainable. Ensure that you're having the right amount of protein, meaning foods which are not high in protein and high in fat. No, you have to do high in protein, and lean in fat. So, say for example, you're doing fish or you're doing chicken, or you're doing, your beans.
Yes.
Those are better options than your pork and your beef and all those things because those come with fat. They're high in protein, yes, but also in fat. And also have your fruits and your vegetables, which actually will give you, the vitamins and minerals you need. And have water. Some persons go throughout the day without drinking water. Remember, all your chemical reaction occurs in the metabolic cycle, which needs water. So you have to have water.
Argument done. Janet Rankin, that's all the time we have this morning. Thank you very much. And we certainly hope that you would have helped a fair few people this morning to achieve their diet and body goals.
Just 1 second.
Yes.
We are located at 29 East Kings House Road, CHS Medical. We do meals. So if you have an issue with finding healthy meals, you can always walk in and purchase your healthy meal. Our numbers are 876-728-1971, and we open at 9:30 each day.
It's easier first, because what I was going to say, in saying goodbye, tell them where they can find you and how they can reach you.
Oh.
So you do it for me. Are you on Instagram? They can find you on Instagram?
Yes. You can find us at CHS Medical JA.
CHS Medical JA.
Medical JA.
And give me the number again.
Or on social media.
Give me the number again.
876-728-1971.
All right. And your address again?
29 East Kings House Road, and we're at Shop 4. So that's where the Lotion supermarket is, right in that plaza, Shop 4.
Excellent. One day we're going to invite you into the studio to prepare some meals so that the viewers can see and the listeners can hear.
Not a problem. Ready.
All right? Yeah, man. All right, Janet. Thank you and have a good day.
Have a good day to you too. Bye-bye.
All right. Managing Director of Complete Healthcare Solutions. She's also a dietitian, Janet Rankin. After the break, your birthdays.
A Healthier You was brought to you by Express Fitness, your goal or mission, and Horton's Pharmacy, a family tradition of dispensing and caring for 100 years.
Together near the ocean shore, hand in hand, you and I. Let's cherish every moment we have been given, but time is passing by. I often pray before I lay down by your side. If you receive your calling before I awake, could I make it through the night? Cherish the love we have. We should cherish the life we live. Oh, cherish the love. Cherish the love. Cherish the love.
All right, at 8:50 this morning, I want to send a special birthday greeting to Beverly Marie Hines. She is the matriarch of the Hines family. She lives over there in Freeport in the Bahamas. And I'm not to her age because she's evergreen, former outstanding Jamaica international netballer and volleyballer. And she was a distinguished school teacher in the Bahamas for many decades. And she recently retired. Hope you are enjoying your retirement today. And her husband Richard is taking care of you. Greetings are coming from your daughter Roxanne Marie Hines, your granddaughter Kitara Marie Hines, and the whole other people we know in Jamaica, yeah. And of course, greetings are coming from me, yeah. Till the day we die, we will always be mother and son. All right. So, Beverly Marie Hines, happy birthday to you, and I really hope you enjoy this special day. All right, also want to send birthday greetings to Jackie Mays Latour. Happy birthday to you, Jackie. Karine Miller-Muir. Happy birthday to you, Karine. Audrey Reed. She is a dancehall queen for life. Chevy Franklin voice. Audrey Reed is a top lady. Happy birthday to you, Audrey. Denise Williams. Happy birthday to you, Denise. Happy birthday to Sandra Powell. Happy birthday, Sandra. And Juanita King. Happy birthday to you, Juanita. You are just inching away from your half century, Juanita. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Sasha Gay Ibanks. Sasha Gay Ibanks. Want to send special birthday greetings also to Cheryl Caruthers, Marsha Reds, Raina Farquharson, Yana Walker. Yes, Yana Walker. And Yana Walker. So Yana Walker is 49. Yana Walker is 47. Want to send special birthday greetings to YouTuber Petrona Smith, who's celebrating her 38th. Oh, it's not birthday. It's our wedding anniversary. But all right. Petrona Smith celebrating her 38th wedding anniversary. Today, 38th wedding anniversary. That's almost as long as I've been alive. Keep going strong, Petrona, you and husband. Congratulations to you, and may you enjoy the day. And happy birthday to the acting principal of Denhamtown High School, Mrs. Yvette Thompson. And to Dr. Marcel Huey of St. Joseph's Teachers College. So, acting principal of Denhamtown High, Mrs. Yvette Thompson, and Dr. Marcel Huey of St. Joseph's Teachers College, have a fantastic day today. All right. So, yeah, big people birthday today, German. So, Anita Baker is quite apropos. You have a bigger one? Man, say, I have a bigger one, the listeners. Man, say, have history behind it. I wrote it then, no? Yeah, the man.
All I wanna do. Loving you is
this is all I know, so I can't see. I can't catch the part where you're coming up. You have to go ask Miss Kitty if you catch it.
Is out of loving you.
Oh, Miss Kitty said no. All we can do is do this. Doom, 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 doom. We can't do the party though. Jesus, peace. Hey, it's sweet.
No one else can make me feel the colors that you bring. Stay with me while we grow old, and we will live each day in springtime. 'Cause loving you has made my life so beautiful. And every day of my life is filled with love and you.
Denise Williams, cheese and peas. Oh, Joan Sweets. You know Denise Williams, Minnie Riperton, of course, yes. Minnie Riperton, yeah? Tune can't so sweet. Anyway, I was distracted by YouTube because CJ Martinez says, happy birthday to my cousin Chantel. CJ Martinez, happy birthday to my cousin Chantel. So Chantel on the last name, CJ. Carol Allen says, happy birthday to my little brother Ted. Wishing all the best. So Carol Allen sends happy birthday greetings to her brother Ted. I'm looking for more. Donna Johnson says, George, please send happy birthday greetings to Christopher Stand Up Right. Oh, Christopher Stand Up Right, a part of the YouTube family. So Christopher, good morning and happy birthday to you. Donna is sending greetings for you, or greetings to you. I'm looking. Chris Mullings says, happy birthday to me on this day, and also happy birthday to my cousin. Where it gone? Yeah, Chris Mullings, happy birthday to me on this day, and also happy birthday to my cousin Orlando Barnett, aka Eric. So, Chris, happy birthday to you, and Orlando Barnett, Chris's cousin, happy birthday as well. Albert Morgan says, Georgette Thomas, wishing you a happy birthday. So, Georgette, Albert Morgan is sending happy birthday greetings to you. And then, special, the 4%ers will long reign in this part of the world. Thank you. Good morning.
You've just heard Nationwide this morning on Nationwide 90 FM.
I celebrate my love for you. It seems the natural thing to do. Tonight, no one's gonna find us. We'll leave the world behind. I make love to you. Tonight I celebrate my love for you.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.